Chapter 382. Ning Cheng closed the door, and calmly stared at Tian Mu Wan, but did not ask anything. He was already at the Soul Essence 7th level, as such, if he wanted to restore his strength to the 4th level of the Soul Sculpting realm, then he would need at most a week or two. In a week or two he would leave. There was no point in talking to Tian Mu Wan anymore. Tian Mu Wan saw Ning Cheng looking at her without speaking, and also did not ask anything. Her lips trembled for a long time before she said, "I'm sorry." These 3 words were very light. If not for Ning Cheng's cultivation, he would not have been able to hear these 3 words clearly. Ning Cheng suddenly felt a bit stuffy. He and Tian Mu Wan had not been together for a day or two. He knew Tian Mu Wan very well, at least he had never heard Tian Mu Wan say these 3 words. Ning Cheng was somewhat stunned. He could see that the sharpness in Tian Mu Wan's eyes had completely disappeared, replaced by a deep sadness. That kind of sorrow made people feel flustered, and their chests felt even more stuffy. "You. Why are you looking for me?" Ning Cheng felt that his throat was a bit dry. He did not want to see Tian Mu Wan look at him like this. "I have some regrets." Tian Mu Wan stared straight at Ning Cheng. Her expression was as if she could not wait to take Ning Cheng away with her own eyes. "What do you regret?" Ning Cheng subconsciously asked, completely not knowing the purpose of his question. Immediately, he thought that Tian Muan and Xing Jian had the same thoughts. Did she regret coming because she knew what he was capable of? However, in his heart, Tian Muan was not such a person. Not to mention that he was a cultivator at the 4th level of Soul Sculpting realm. Even if it was a powerhouse like elder brother Tsang Wei who could move unhindered across the starry skies, Tian Mu Wan would never say the word regret. He understood Tian Mu Wan. Tian Mu Wan did not answer. She turned around, walked to the door, opened it, and slowly walked out of the room. Only she knew what she regretted. Of course, what she regretted was not that Ning Cheng had such a great ability. In fact, she did not even know that Ning Cheng was also a true cultivator. What she regretted was that after dating Ning Cheng for 2 or 3 years, she unexpectedly did not give her body to Ning Cheng. If he had given it to Ning Cheng a long time ago, then today's matter would not have happened. Ning Cheng was in a daze looking at Tian Mu Wan's back, when suddenly a spiritual consciousness fluctuation fell on his body. Ning Cheng was startled in his heart, and almost leaked out his own spiritual consciousness fluctuation. There are cultivators here. Furthermore, it was a cultivator with a high cultivation level. Otherwise, how could this divine sense sweep into his room? Ning Cheng immediately chased after this spiritual consciousness, and soon saw this spiritual consciousness revolving around Tian Muan. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness instantly swept out a few hundred miles from the 100 Bay Point. The next moment, he saw a scarlet-robed masked cultivator only a few dozen miles away from the 100 Bay Point. Peak Profound Congealing Realm. Was there really a cultivator at the peak of Profound Congealing Realm on Earth? Ning Cheng sucked in a mouthful of cold air, while secretly rejoicing in his heart. Fortunately, he was not in a hurry to kill those insects. Instead, he stayed here and restored his cultivation to the 7th level of the Essence Soul realm. Otherwise, even if he was in the Essence Building realm, he would not be afraid of those at the peak of Profound Congealing realm, but he would not be as calm as he was now. Not to mention killing the Insect Queen. In just a moment, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. This scarlet-robed cultivator's spiritual consciousness had been following Tian Mu Wan's body. It was obvious that he wanted to use Tian Mu Wan as his cultivation furnace. Tian Mu Wan had come to see him as a farewell before her death. Ning Cheng clenched his fists, no matter how arrogant Tian Mu Wan was, or how she did not put him in her eyes. He would not allow a profound congealing ant to defile her, and turn her into a cultivation furnace. This scarlet-robed beast was simply courting death. Big brother. She has already left. You don't have to feel sad. There are some things that you should let go of. Ning Rulan, on seeing Ning Cheng standing at the door with his fists clenched, with an ashen complexion, quickly came up to comfort him. She thought that it was because of Tian Mu Wan's matter that made Ning Qing sad. Ning Qing sighed, as he stroked Ning Rulan's hair with his hand and spoke, "Rulan, I'm going out for a few days, you stay here and cultivate well. When I come back, we will have to leave." I know." Ning Rulan replied in a well-behaved manner. Being together with her big brother, she was the happiest. After Ning Qing walked out of the 100 Bay Point, he stopped, before he turned around and spoke in a cold voice, "What are you following me for? Take that back with you, I don't buy it." Ning Qing had already planned to take care of this scarlet-robed man, and then immediately go to the Jab's line of defense. However, he did not expect that Yi Lei would once again follow him. He had thought that after he rejected Yi Lei, a person like Yi Lei would immediately leave, but he did not expect that she would remain in the Qing Rulan Hotel. Now that he had come out, she immediately followed him. Just a day ago, Yi Lei, who was still talking to Ning Qing, suddenly knelt down in front of Ning Qing with a thump and spoke, "Elder brother Ning, I beg you to help the Jab's line of defense, don't let those insects rush into our home." In just one day, Yi Lei had already heard too many things about Ning Qing in the 100 Bay Point. Homer, one of the 5 major experts, had suddenly disappeared after Ning Qing had shot Quake to death. As long as one of the 5 major experts was a slightly smart person, they would be able to guess that this matter definitely had something to do with Ning Qing. Not only that, even Delandy, Shelley and Monk Rui Qin, who were among the world's 5 major experts, were also submissive towards Ning Qing. It was not like the rumors from the outside, that Ning Qing wanted to push his sister to Ning Rulan. In front of Ning Qing, Delandy's relationship was more like that between a junior and an elder. Ning Qing originally did not have much of a favorable impression towards people like Yi Lei. When she wanted others to pay a price, she would come, but once things were stable, she would act like a tyrant. However, he did not expect that Yi Lei would turn out to be such a sentimental person, to the point that she would even kneel down in front of him for the sake of her earth. Although Ning Qing had tumbled and crawled in the true cultivation world for many years, he did not say that he was unmoved by force or persuasion. However, it was not that easy for others to plead for him. However, when he looked at Yi Lei, he really saw a compassionate heart. This woman did not come here for herself, nor for others. Rather, she really wanted to ask him for help. She really wanted to ask him for help for the sake of her earth. Elder brother Ning, Yi Lei admits that she still has a bit of beauty. As long as you can take out an essence weapon, and go to the Jab's line of defense to resist the demon insects, Yi Lei's entire body will be yours. No matter what you do to me, I will not have any complaints. There was one more thing that Yi Lei did not dare to say, that is, the secret plan to sneak attack the insect queen. As long as the queen insect was killed, the rest of the insects would slowly decrease and eventually be destroyed by humans. She initially thought that Ning Qing only had essence weapons, but after investigating the 100 Bay Point, she vaguely realized that Ning Qing might be a peerless expert. Only a peerless expert like him could ambush the insect queen. It was not that there were no top-notch experts within the Jab's line of defense, but none of them could be mobilized by her, Yi Lei. Moreover, none of them were willing to listen to her, Yi Lei's, words. Now they knew that Ning Qing was an expert. Moreover, Ning Qing came from a poor background, without any family backing him up. Other than begging Ning Qing, she simply had no other way. As for Ning Qing's Yan Rui, Xing Liang and the others, not to mention transferring them, even if she asked them, they would not pay any attention to her. Ning Qing gave out a sigh, as he reached out to help Yi Lei up and spoke, "Yi Lei, the fact is that I came out this time was to go to the Jab's line of defense. Don't worry, I'm ready to make a move." Yi Lei was pleasantly surprised as she looked at Ning Qing. She did not understand why Ning Qing had suddenly changed so much. Just a day ago, he had told her to get lost, but now he was willing to make a move. Was it because she was willing to sacrifice her body? However, even if that was the case, she was willing to do it, without even half a shred of remorse. Yi Lei, who had been in the Jab's line of defense for many years, was very clear that once these insects broke through the line of defense, what kind of disaster would that be? No, it would not be a disaster, but rather destruction. It would be a permanent destruction. Even if the human race disappeared, it would not be impossible. According to her understanding, some of the country's heads of state were already holding a meeting to discuss how to preserve the human race's seeds. Thank you. Lei did not care about what Ning Cheng wanted to do with her, as long as Ning Cheng agreed to go to the Jab's line of defense. Elder brother Ning, the Jab's line of defense is in imminent danger. Let's go to the hotel now, I will give you my body, and then take my plane to the Jab's line of defense. Lei spoke these words without even half a shred of shyness, there was not even half a shred of hesitation. Ning Cheng looked at Lei and spoke, Lei, I understand your feelings, but don't take out your body to exchange in the future. This is the thing that a woman should be most proud of. Later on, you must give it to a man that you really like, and who also truly likes you. Do not let yourself leave behind any regrets in the future. Let's go, I still have to kill a person before I can go to the Jab's line of defense. Lei saw Ning Cheng's departing back and quickly followed. She was still thinking about Ning Cheng's words. The scarlet-robed man's spiritual consciousness had always been following Tian Mu Wan. He was sure that Tian Mu Wan would not dare to give the red pill to her first love at this time. Just in case, his spiritual consciousness did not leave Tian Mu Wan for even half a moment. Now that Tian Mu Wan slowly walked back, the corners of his mouth showed a trace of a sneer. Under his threat, did she really want to commit suicide? Stop dreaming. Since he started cultivating until now, he had already found countless furnaces, yet none of them dared to say even half a word against him. However, Tian Mu Wan's kind of furnaces were definitely the best of the best. Wanting him to help a furnace reach foundation building? He could only laugh in his heart. Unless he was crazy, he would never take out resources to help a furnace reach foundation building. Your speed is very slow. After Tian Mu Wan came closer, the scarlet-robed cultivator spoke out a sentence in an indifferent tone. Tian Mu Wan did not answer, nor did she make any movements. She could feel that her heart was gradually dying. Take off all your clothes and spread them on the ground. The scarlet-robed cultivator, on seeing Tian Mu Wan not speaking, suddenly spoke out. What? Tian Mu Wan had planned to die from cultivation deviation while cultivating, so that this devil would not take her as a furnace. However, she did not think that this devil would want to possess her at this moment. Letting her take off her clothes and have an affair with this devil, it would be better to just kill her. Did you not hear what I said? Do you want me to do it? The scarlet-robed cultivator's tone suddenly turned ice-cold. Tian Mu Wan at this time completely understood. After she came back, the opposite party had already seen that she did not really want to be his furnace, as such he became angry out of shame and wanted to force himself on her. Tian Mu Wan crazily revolved her true qi, tearing apart her meridians, she wanted to commit suicide. Slut, courting death. The scarlet-robed cultivator angrily cursed, causing Tian Mu Wan's true qi to stagnate, before her whole person fainted. The scarlet-robed cultivator raised his hand to grab Tian Mu Wan, but found that he had grabbed empty air. Then he saw Tian Mu Wan being held in the arms of a young man. When did this young man arrive? He did not even notice him for half a moment. Hey, that's not right, wasn't this the young man that Tian Mu Wan had gone to the hotel to see for the last time? Chapter 383. It's you. It's you. Two voices spoke out almost at the same time, one was from the scarlet-robed man who recognized Ning Cheng, while the other was from Lei who came with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked at Lei's surprised eyes and asked, "Do you know this person?" Lei nodded, yes, he had been to the Jab's line of defense. I occasionally saw him and Yen Rui together, seemingly discussing something. Moreover, Yen Rui was very respectful towards this person, so his origin should not be simple. The scarlet-robed man's eyes flashed as he stared at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had come here, yet he did not discover him. Not only that, he also did not discover Yi Lei following Ning Cheng. It was simply too strange. He already knew about Yi Lei, because she was a woman without spiritual roots, although she was beautiful, but he was not in a hurry to make his move. Now that he wanted to condense his golden core, he needed a woman with a spiritual root as a furnace. Who are you? The scarlet-robed man did not act rashly. Ning Cheng had carried Tianmu Wan away too quickly. Moreover, he could not see Ning Cheng's cultivation, so before he knew Ning Cheng's origin and cultivation, he did not want to act rashly. Are you the one who wants Mu Wan as a furnace? Ning Cheng stared at the scarlet-robed man and asked in a cold voice. The scarlet-robed man deliberately frowned. So you and this woman know each other? Since we are all kindred spirits, I certainly will not continue to use her as a furnace. I will take my leave first. I hope we will meet again. Despite saying that, he did not immediately leave. He wanted to test Ning Cheng's reaction. If Ning Cheng was just bluffing, and was just a bit faster, then he could not blame him for being impolite. If Ning Cheng was really powerful, then he could always take this furnace next time. As for giving up such a good furnace like Tianmu Wan, he was absolutely unwilling. On Earth, Tianmu Wan was definitely the only one with such a cultivation furnace. You're wrong, we will never meet again. As soon as Ning Cheng said those words, the scarlet-robed man immediately felt that something was wrong. He instantly retreated, while simultaneously bringing out a long knife. Yi Lei, who was behind Ning Cheng, did not even see where the scarlet-robed man had hidden his knife. Ning Cheng disdainfully stepped forward, and lifted his foot to kick down. He did not even put down Tianmu Wan, not to mention bringing out a magical weapon. He was just a late-stage soul essence cultivator. If he wanted to kill a profound congealing ant, then he would have to bring out a magical weapon. It would simply be a joke. Seeing Ning Cheng move, the scarlet-robed man felt that the space around him had turned viscous. He felt as if he was a tortoise struggling in the mud, and every movement he made was extremely difficult. He could only watch helplessly as Ning Cheng's foot kicked towards him. In addition to feeling horrified in his heart, his entire person felt as if he had fallen into the coldest ice cave. He, Lian Yong, had never felt this way since his debut. He had always been the one to give others the feeling that anyone who stood in front of him would be crushed by his overwhelming strength. Who would have thought that it would be his turn this time? Who was this person? How could he possess such terrifying strength? This was definitely more than a cultivator who had condensed a golden core. Senior. Junior had eyes but failed to see. Senior, please spare my life. Lian Yong had never begged for mercy before. Today, he had no choice but to beg for mercy. At this moment, he even hated himself for not studying how to beg for mercy in the past. Bang! The long knife in the hands of the scarlet-robed man had not yet fallen, when Ning Cheng stepped on his entire body, causing him to be unable to move. He could clearly hear the sound of his bones breaking. Ning Cheng exerted a bit of force on his foot, causing the scarlet-robed man to spit out a mouthful of blood. He really wanted to continue begging for mercy, but unfortunately, he couldn't even speak at this moment. Don't you know that I was the one who gave this knife to Yinhui? I haven't even had the time to look for you, but you actually came looking for me with my knife. Ning Cheng's voice made the scarlet-robed man depressed to the point that he wanted to vomit blood in his heart. When he obtained the long blade, he had already ordered Yan Rui to look for Ning Cheng. Moreover, the reason why he came to the 100 Bay Point was because he heard that a high-grade essence weapon had appeared in the 100 Bay Point. If he had known that this fellow who possessed a high-grade essence weapon was so powerful and terrifying, he would not have dared to come here even if he had to cut off his limbs. Ning Cheng did not immediately trample the scarlet-robed man to death, rather he looked down at Tian Muan. When Tian Muan forcibly blew up her meridians, the scarlet-robed man's spiritual consciousness thorn interrupted her attempt. Apart from him, there was probably no one on earth who could treat this kind of injury. Then he vaguely saw something hanging on Tian Muan's white neck that was somewhat familiar. It should be the outline of a pearl hair clip. Ning Qing suddenly felt somewhat dispirited. It was obvious that this pearl hair clip was not the one he had originally given her. The one he had given her was white in color, but this pearl hair clip had a pink edge. He immediately remembered the words that Tian Muan had spoken to Jia Zi, "Since you lost it, you can just buy one for me when you have the time. Let's go." He really did not expect that she would actually buy it. Big brother Ning. Seeing Ning Qing in a daze, Yi Lei carefully called out. Ning Qing recovered, as he took out a cleansing rain pill and put it in Tian Muan's mouth. The pill in Tian Muan's mouth instantly turned into a spiritual liquid, before it entered Tian Muan's body. The cleansing rain pill was a level 6 profound pill, and was considered as one of the top profound grade pills for repairing the meridians and dantian. Even in the true cultivation world, the cleansing rain pill was extremely valuable. Even if Tian Muan's injuries were severe, with the help of the cleansing rain pill, she would only need half a day's time to fully recover. Moreover, she would not even need to circulate her qi to open up the medicinal properties. Ning Qing found a room card for the external domain hotel from Tian Muan's pocket. The room card had the exclusive area 7001 written on it. He handed the room card to Yi Lei and said, "Yi Lei, do me a favor, take Tian Muan to her own room. It is in the external domain hotel 7001, I believe that with your ability, you would be able to deliver it very quickly." Saying that, Ning Qing took out a talisman and handed it to Yi Lei. This talisman is an invisibility talisman. You do not need to ask anything, just hang this talisman on your body. As long as you do not touch anyone, and do not speak to anyone, no one will stop you. Yi Lei's ability might be above that of Yi Nihui, as such sending Tian Muan to the hotel should not take too much time. Ah! Yi Lei received the invisibility talisman in a daze, as well as Tian Muan in Ning Cheng's hand. Invisibility talisman. Was there such a strange thing in this world? However, she quickly put aside the matter of the invisibility talisman, and anxiously spoke, "Big brother Ning, I want to take you to the Jab's line of defense, and..." Ning Qing waved his hand to stop Yi Lei's words, "I know, so you should quickly go back, I will wait for you here. As long as you put Tian Muan on the bed in her room, Tian Muan will automatically wake up, you don't have to worry about anything else." Hearing that Ning Qing would wait for her here, Yi Lei also did not say anything, as she quickly carried Tian Muan and quickly left. Although she believed that Ning Qing would not lie to her, but she still wanted to come back as soon as possible. After Yi Lei left, Ning Qing loosened his foot, looked at the red-haired man and spoke, "Tell me, where did you get your true cultivation method? If you dare to lie to me, I will immediately extract your soul." In fact, Ning Qing did not know how to extract a soul, but he knew that the thing that true cultivators feared the most was extracting and refining the soul. Yes, I will tell you, after I was born, I already had some true cultivation methods in my mind. The more I cultivated, the more things that appeared in my mind. It seems that I am not a person from this place, but rather from another place. The red-robed man quickly spoke. Ning Qing once again exerted some force with his foot. "You're lying, even if your soul was reborn here, you would not be able to cultivate this fast. The spiritual qi on earth was scarce, moreover this guy even treated a high-grade artifact as a treasure, he certainly had not seen any other good things. I said, Senior, spare my life." The red-robed man once again spat out a mouthful of blood, as he quickly begged for mercy. "Then you speak." Ning Cheng's foot once again loosened. "Senior, if you promise to spare my life, then I will speak." The red-robed man finally found an excuse to threaten Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng simply did not answer the words of this red-robed man. He was a soul essence cultivator. If he was threatened by a profound congealing cultivator without any hidden cards, then he might as well hit his head against tofu. The true essence directly erupted from the soles of his feet, as it began to tear apart the body of the red-robed cultivator. The red-robed cultivator's face twisted in pain. "Senior, I'll speak, please kill me quickly, 10 minutes later, Ning Cheng turned the red-robed cultivator into fine powder with a ball of flame. He already understood why this red-robed cultivator's cultivation was so fast. It turned out that this guy had a wood spiritual root. Moreover, he had also found a place where his cultivation speed was very fast. As long as he cultivated in this place, then his cultivation would definitely rise. Ning Cheng had lived on Earth for more than 20 years, but this was the first time he had heard of the Feral Brook Mountain. According to the words of the red-robed man, this mountain was close to the edge of the southern heaven region. Ning Cheng decided to wait until this matter was over, then he would go to the Feral Brook Mountain to have a look. Who knows if there would be a treasure there. Knowing that this red-robed cultivator did not have a master to teach him, Ning Cheng also felt a bit relieved. At least on Earth, there was no such thing as a true cultivator. Once there was such a person, it would not be a good thing for this place. As for where Tianmu Wan obtained her cultivation method, Ning Cheng did not want to ask. China's Taoist civilization had existed for thousands of years, so it was not strange for them to have a low-level spiritual sense cultivation method. However, without cultivation resources, not to mention on Earth, even in the Tian continent, one's progress would be limited. For Tianmu Wan to be able to cultivate to the Qi-gathering 9th level, it was already considered lucky. He simply did not need to think about it. He knew that even if Tianmu Wan's qualifications were better than Dai Xian's, her future achievements would not be higher than Dai Xian's. Yilei's speed was indeed very fast. Not only was it fast, but when she came here, she had directly driven a car. Big brother Ning, I have already sent Tianmu Wan to her room. Now how do we go to the Jab's line of defense? After Yilei got off the car, her tone became even more respectful. She did not see that scarlet-robed cultivator. Presumably, Ning Cheng had already killed that scarlet-robed cultivator. As for the invisibility talisman that Ning Cheng spoke about, she did not dare to ask about it. The invisibility talisman was exactly the same as what Ning Cheng had said. When she wore the invisibility talisman and entered the extraterrestrial domain hotel, no one stopped her, no one even glanced at her. However, after she left the hotel, the invisibility talisman turned to ashes. This big brother Ning was definitely a capable person. Even the Jab's line of defense's #1 expert, Xing Liang, might not be Ning Cheng's opponent. If Ning Cheng was willing to help, then the Jab's line of defense might really be saved. Chapter 384. Ning Cheng nodded and spoke, "You've worked hard. Now let's take the battle disc." Saying that, Ning Cheng directly brought out the black 5-star battle disc. "Is this a UFO?" Yilei was shocked as she looked at the incomparably huge black battle disc in front of her. At this moment, her mind was in chaos. Where did this gigantic flying saucer come from? Why was there a flying saucer in Ning City? Ning Cheng looked at the dumbfounded Yilei and spoke, "Yilei, when you are with me, if you see anything amazing, then there is no need for you to be shocked, nor do you need to ask about it. This is the first rule. Second, don't spread what you saw around." Yilei immediately sobered up, and quickly spoke up, "Big brother Ning, I promise that I will not say anything." Ever since swarms of man-eating insects appeared on Earth, Yilei had thought that this was the most amazing thing. She didn't expect that there would be something even more amazing here. Such being the case, then let's go to the battle disc. The Jab's line of defense might not be able to hold on for much longer. Ning Cheng spoke up. Hearing the words Jab's line of defense, Yilei instantly sobered up. She quickly put aside the countless questions in her mind, as she followed Ning Cheng into the battle disc, which she thought was a flying saucer. After Yilei entered the battle disc, she once again looked around in a daze. She found that this flying saucer was not like what she had imagined it to be, as there were a lot of control panels and buttons. After she came in, she only saw some leisure rooms. Could it be that this flying saucer could not fly? But for enjoyment? Thinking of enjoyment, Yilei subconsciously looked at the big bed. Go to the Jab's line of defense. Ning Cheng did not care about Yilei's shock. After he sat down, he directly issued an order. The surface area of the Earth was very small, far from being comparable to the sifting orchid star. With such an area, Ning Qing did not need to give sifting orchid a map, as sifting orchid's radar would be able to scan it. Lei didn't even feel a tremor before she saw the white clouds around her. In other words, the flying saucer had started to take off. She completely understood that this was a high-tech spaceship. She had never thought that the intelligent technology of a spaceship could reach this level. What kind of technology is this? Even if they developed for another 100 years on Earth, would they be able to reach this level? Lei wanted to ask Ning Qing about it, but she did not dare to ask, fearing that Ning Qing would become angry. Previously, Ning Qing had said not to ask anything. "Master, we have arrived at the Jab's line of defense. This line of defense will soon be breached, please instruct." Roland's abrupt voice gave Lei a fright. She immediately realized that this was the voice of the UFO's AI. This UFO was simply too powerful. Roland really could not bear it. She was just about to ask Ning Qing where he had obtained this flying saucer, when she saw the crowd of people retreating in all directions. At this moment, the Jab's line of defense had already been breached. Countless fighters were shot down by the flying insects, while innumerable soldiers fighting against the insects ended up being swallowed up by the insects. Other than a faint glow, the laser wall did not emit any more lasers. The laser cannons were also picked up by the huge flying insects' feet and smashed everywhere. With Lei paralyzed, she did not even bother to ask Ning Qing for help. If not for Ning Qing wanting to help Tianmu Wan, if not for Ning Qing being delayed for a day, then they would have definitely made it in time. But should he blame Ning Qing? She simply did not have the qualifications to blame Ning Qing. In the headquarters of the Jab's line of defense, an old man grabbed the phone and shouted at the top of his lungs. Other than the words emergency, support, kill the insects, and defend, from his mouth, one could not even hear a single coherent sentence. "Commander Jean, the insects have already breached the line of defense, we should quickly retreat. If we are any later, then we would not be able to leave this place." A young officer walked up to the old man and spoke in a low voice. The old man recovered, as he stared at the officer with red eyes and shouted, "You are telling me to retreat, you are telling me to retreat? We have lost so many soldiers, so many people, all in order to defend the line of defense, and now you are telling me to retreat? Fuck off for me." The old man pushed the officer away, before grabbing the phone and shouting at the top of his lungs, "The Jab's line of defense needs reinforcements, requesting reinforcements. I will definitely defend the direction of the Jab's line of defense, I will not retreat even a single step, the Jab's line of defense." Boom! A shadow smashed open the glass window and rushed into the room of the headquarters. It was a huge red flying insect. As soon as the flying insect came in, it immediately clawed at the old man making the phone call. The young officer, who had just advised the old man to retreat, raised the submachine gun in his hand and started shooting. However, when these bullets hit the body of the red flying insect, it was as if they were hitting a steel plate, as it only created a series of sparks. The red flying insect seemed to have been angered by the young officer, as it gave up on the old man and directly tried to grab the young officer. In just a moment, the flying insect grabbed the officer, while at the same time using its two claws, the young officer was torn into two halves, as blood splattered all over the surrounding walls. The old man looked at this scene with eyes that almost popped out, as he put down the phone and pulled out the scimitar from his waist. "Commander Jean, leave this to me, you retreat." A tall man whose Chinese was not very fluent rushed in, while holding a bright and dazzling broadsword in his hand. The old man called Commander Jean calm down a bit, as he spoke with red eyes, "Sebastian, even if I die on the battlefield like Foley Hill, I will not retreat. Telling me to retreat is an insult to me, Jean Ingxuan. Daring to kill this father's guards, daring to attack this father's home, this father will chop you up." The scimitar in Jean Ingxuan's hands immediately chopped down. Bang! The red flying insect's claw exploded on top of Zhang Yingshuan's scimitar, causing the old man to take a few steps back before hitting the wall. However, this red flying insect's claw also started to bleed. Although the submachine gun could not blow up the flying insect, Zhang Yingshuan's scimitar had left a mark on it. Not waiting for the red flying insect to rush towards Zhang Yingshuan, Sebastian, who had just told Zhang Yingshuan to retreat, simultaneously chopped down with his scimitar. The scimitar cut through the air, causing a buzzing sound to ring out. This insect unexpectedly knew that this scimitar was not simple, as such it did not resist it head-on, and instead retreated to avoid the scimitar. The battle in the command headquarters was just one of the countless battles taking place. At this time, in the entire Jab's line of defense, except for a small number of people who had escaped, most of the soldiers, war officers, and war generals were fighting against the insects. At every moment, there were countless soldiers being killed, and at every moment, there were even more insects rushing into the Jab's line of defense. Seeing this, Ning Cheng's anger burst out, causing his eyes to turn red. In the Jab's line of defense, although there were many shameless fellows, there were also many people who truly risked their lives to protect their homeland on Earth. These people were all warriors worthy of his respect. He was not a selfish and cold-blooded person from the true cultivation world. This kind of battle where they did not even put their own lives in their eyes, completely shocked him. Although the cultivations of these soldiers were very low, but many of them, in order to kill an insect, completely disregarded their own life and death. There were not just one or two of them who perished together with the insects. Sifting orchid, attack with the greatest concentration, do not let even a single insect escape. At the same time, do not hurt a single person. Ning Cheng almost shouted out an order. Prepare the spirit stone cannon, start the rank 5 attack with maximum range and maximum intensity. Just as Sifting Orchid's voice fell, the black battle disc shook slightly, followed by countless dense white lights shooting out. This kind of attack shocked even Ning Cheng. He finally understood the fearsomeness of the rank 5 battle disc. This kind of attack could be felt from all directions. As long as it was within the rank 5 battle disc, it would be able to shoot out these white lights. Moreover, Ning Cheng could clearly hear that the last time the rank 5 battle disc released a rank 1 attack without any difference in life fluctuations, but this time it was a rank 5 attack. The last time it was a red line attack, but this time it was a white light attack. Ning Cheng's gaze fell on the outside of the flying disc, causing him to suck in a mouthful of cold air. He had always thought that the rank 5 battle disc was inferior to him. However, when he saw this kind of attack, he knew that his thoughts were completely wrong. Those densely packed insects, whether they were running on the ground or flying in the air, when swept by this white light, all of them died without exception. Moreover, the battle disc was still constantly moving, and in just less than a minute, Ning Cheng saw a bunch of insects being killed. The densely packed insects in the surroundings instantly reduced, even the densely packed flying insects in the air also disappeared in an instant. Moreover, all the soldiers fighting against the insects did not suffer any casualties. The battle disc's discrimination was both accurate and ruthless. This Lei, who was paralyzed, once again stood up in shock. She was lying outside the transparent window of the battle disc as she watched the endless insects being killed by the battle disc. Her mouth instantly gaped open, she even suspected that she was dreaming. Poof! In the command room, the red flying insect's claw tore off a piece of flesh from Christian's arm. Christian's hand immediately loosened in pain, causing the broadsword to fall to the ground with a clanging sound. Christian's eyes flashed with a trace of despair, but he did not continue to persuade Zhang Yingshuan to retreat. He knew the temper of this old man, and at the same time, he also knew that they were finished. At this time, he suddenly heard a sharp cry, a cry that almost tore his eardrums apart. The next moment, the red flying insect that was about to tear him apart unexpectedly rushed out of the command room, no longer paying any attention to him. What's going on? Christian and Zhang Yingshuan looked at each other in dismay, they did not know what was going on. They were well aware of the fierceness of these insects, as such they would never retreat midway when they were about to kill them. A soldier covered in blood rushed in and reported in a hoarse voice, "There is a black flying saucer outside. This flying saucer is very good at killing insects. In just a few minutes, it has already killed tens of millions of insects. Moreover, it is still continuously shooting and killing all kinds of insects. At this time, all the insects have already let go of our alliance army, all of them have received the call of the insect queen, and are collectively attacking the black flying saucer." "Oh. What did you say? Flying saucer? It killed tens of millions of insects in just a few minutes." Zhao Ningxuan could not understand what this soldier was talking about. However, he quickly sobered up and immediately roared out, "Immediately go out and take a look." As he spoke, everyone rushed out of the command room. Oh. Chapter 385. At this time, all the people who had not left the Jab's line of defense were looking up at the battle taking place outside of the line of defense. There was a black flying saucer in front of them, while countless insects were rushing towards it. Dense white lights shot out from the black UFO, and the insects fell in piles. Even so, after the insect queen called out, not only did the number of insects not decrease, but it also increased. Heavens, an alien planet has come to help. What a terrifying flying saucer. What terrifying combat power. This should be a new combat flying saucer developed by the Alliance. With this flying saucer, we won't have to be afraid of these disgusting bugs anymore. I thought that I would die in the Jab's line of defense. I did not think that this kind of flying saucer would appear in the end. It's just like a dream. But there are more and more insects. The flying saucer is almost covered. At this moment, on the Jab's line of defense, all the soldiers of all colors were exclaiming in amazement and shock. No one knew what was going on. Even the few commanders of the line of defense who had rushed out were watching the UFO battle with their mouths wide open. They had no idea what was going on. When they saw the UFO being covered by the bugs, they became nervous again. Once the UFO was destroyed, these bugs could easily devour the whole Earth. After Ning Cheng heard the cries of the insect queen, he immediately knew that it was not good. He could no longer sit still and simply stood up. The insect queen's voice had a very powerful penetrative ability. Ning Cheng estimated that this kind of strength was a lot stronger than his own. "Big brother Ning, thank you." Seeing the numerous insects outside being killed by the flying saucer, Yi Lei completely sobered up from the shock, as she quickly bowed and thanked Ning Cheng. "There are too many demonic insects. We need to launch a level 5 attack. Spirit stones are not enough. We need 100 million spirit stones." Roland's voice came. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to take out a ring without any restrictions, put 100 million spirit stones into it, and put the ring into the energy tank. Fortunately, he had obtained a lot of spirit stones in the sifting orchid star, otherwise, he would not have been able to kill all of these insects. Anything, when the quantity reached a certain level, would be a terrifying thing. After the battle disc replenished itself with the spirit stones, it no longer shot out a white light, but rather a circular wave after a circular wave. All the worms died instantly under this wave. Because of the appearance of the wave, the insect's death rate instantly increased. Almost every second, tens of millions of bugs were affected by the white light and died. The insects surrounding the black flying saucer decreased in an instant, and the flying saucer appeared once again. Seeing that the flying saucer was revealed, the soldiers watching all heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the most difficult part was over. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already swept out and detected a several dozen feet tall giant insect rushing towards him at an incomparably fast speed. The giant worm's body was brown, with circles of whorled stripes. This insect had a total of 8 legs, and each leg was covered with dense barbs and was incomparably thick. This wasn't a bug, it was a moving skyscraper. What made Ning Cheng's heart sink was that this insect was definitely close to a Class 8 monstrous beast, or rather it was already a Class 8 monstrous beast. If his cultivation had been restored to the 4th level of soul sculpting realm, then he would have been able to put up a fight against it. However, the current him and this insect were still far apart. Ning Cheng guessed that this huge insect should be the insect queen. At this moment, Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart that if he did not go out to stop that insect, then the battle disc sifting orchid would not be able to block even a single slap from that insect. The attacks of the battle disc sifting orchid could instantly kill off these low-leveled monstrous insects, but in the face of this insect queen, it was simply useless. Moreover, he also understood why the jab's line of defense could last until today. It was all because of the insect queen's deliberate actions. This insect queen had gained spiritual wisdom, so it wanted these insects to attack the jab's line of defense, but at the same time did not break through. This was all in order to hone the combat effectiveness of these insects. Using humans as prey, to hone the combat effectiveness of these insects, Ning Cheng felt his scalp tingle just thinking about it. Alert, an insect queen that cannot be killed has been detected. In 10 seconds, the insect queen will approach the battle disc. The sifting orchid's radar apparently also discovered the insect queen, as it immediately sent out an alert. Ning Cheng instantly made a decision, sifting orchid, you can kill all these insects, I will block the insect queen first. Remember, do not leave a single one alive. Big Brother Ning. Yi Lei also saw the huge insect queen on the battle disc's monitoring screen, causing her to suddenly panic in her heart. However, just as she called out the 3 words Big Brother Ning, Ning Cheng had already left the battle disc. He immediately rushed towards the insect queen. He absolutely could not let the insect queen deal with the battle disc. The insect queen had already seen Ning Cheng coming over, as it stamped its feet on the ground, before it immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. As a formidable imposing aura pressed down on him, Ning Cheng did not continue to think about it, as he immediately brought out the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City. At this time, holding back was the most foolish thing to do. The only thing he could rejoice about was that he had already recovered to the soul essence realm, otherwise, if he came here with his essence building realm cultivation, he would only be courting death. Boom! Catcha! The shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, under the huge impact of the insect queen, instantly collapsed, as the thunder light overflowed in all directions. Ning Cheng brought out his black spear, bringing out a circle of ice spear lights. Immediately using the 36 profound ice spear lights, the ice spear lights under Ning Cheng's spear lights quickly formed into an ice spear net, before exploding towards the huge insect queen. Although he had already made his move, Ning Cheng still sighed in his heart, his time was simply too short. Elder brother Tsang Wei had helped him refine 36 axes, and even gave him a spiritual technique, yet he did not have the time to refine and cultivate it. He had originally thought that Earth was the safest place, who would have thought that he would encounter such a thing? At this time, Ning Cheng did not blame Yi Lei. Even if Yi Lei had not called for him, with the power of these insects, it would only have taken them a few days to reach the 100-bay point. In a few days' time, if he was lucky, then he would be able to recover to the 1st level of the soul sculpting realm. If his luck was bad, then he would only be able to recover to the peak of the soul essence realm. Catcha! The profound ice spear lights were just like tofu, as the insect queen's foot smashed them into nothingness. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to disperse, the insect queen's other foot smashed towards Ning Cheng, just like a shadow. Bang! A huge force exploded on Ning Cheng's body, and Ning Cheng was instantly sent flying. The insect queen did not intend to let Ning Cheng go, as it once again landed beside Ning Cheng in 2 steps. Yi Lei, who was still inside the battle disc, was completely stunned. She knew that Ning Cheng was very powerful, but this insect queen was unexpectedly this terrifying. She had called Ning Cheng here, wouldn't that be equivalent to killing Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng simply could not beat this insect queen. Not only Yi Lei, but the entire Jab's line of defense were nervously staring at the fight between Ning Cheng and the Insect Queen. At the same time that Ning Cheng was sent flying by the Insect Queen, everyone's hearts were hanging by a thread. Previously, when they saw that the black battle disc was so powerful, they had thought that the Jab's line of defense was finally safe, but they did not expect that such a terrifying Insect Queen would appear. The martial artist blocking the Insect Queen was definitely a top-notch expert. This top-notch expert blocking the Insect Queen was obviously because he did not want the Insect Queen to get close to the flying disc. In other words, the flying disc would not be able to kill this Insect Queen. If this expert was killed by the Insect Queen, then the Insect Queen would rush into the Jab's line of defense, causing the Jab's line of defense to be completely annihilated. Zhao Ningxuan clenched his fists. He knew that if he went to help, it would be tantamount to throwing his life away. If throwing his life away could be of some use, then he would not hesitate to throw his life away. However, throwing his life away might even backfire. If the 5 major experts were still here, then perhaps they could help out a little. Unfortunately, Shelley and Monk Rui Qing of the 5 major experts had already died in battle, while Delandy had sent Ilay to the 100 Bay Point. Homer did not appear at all, while Xing Liang had disappeared from the battlefield. At the same time that Ning Cheng was sent flying by the Insect Queen, he felt as if his bones were about to break. The power of this Insect Queen was simply too terrifying. If he were not a body-forging cultivator, then he would have definitely suffered serious injuries. Ning Cheng had not yet stood up, when the Insect Queen had already arrived in front of him. Ning Cheng knew that there was a huge gap between his strength and the Insect Queen's. This Insect Queen's fearsomeness had already reached the early stages of the sea-opening realm. However, these things were secondary. The most important thing was that this Insect Queen's body was just too tough. The damage that his attacks could inflict on the Insect Queen was simply not as good as the damage that the Insect Queen could inflict on him. If this continued, then he would definitely end up suffering in the end. He had to think of a way, otherwise, he would only be able to take a beating. Seeing the Insect Queen's long serrated legs rushing towards him, Ning Cheng directly threw out a pitch-black magical weapon. This pitch-black magical weapon, in just a blink of an eye, turned into a giant net with a radius of nearly 100 feet, directly covering the Insect Queen within it. The Insect Queen did not seem to have thought that Ning Cheng would have such a thing, and was immediately wrapped up in it. The giant net contracted at its fastest speed, and soon bound the Insect Queen like a crab waiting to be sold. Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. This magical weapon was something that he had snatched from Gue Yuhai's hands. It was called the Underworld Lock Soul Net, and was not of a low grade. In the past, he had a lot of means, but he had never used this magical weapon. He did not expect that after returning to Earth, he would actually be able to use this soul net. Ka! A crisp snapping sound immediately caused Ning Cheng's complexion to change. He knew that this Insect Queen was very powerful, and its body was as tough as a best-quality spiritual artifact. However, he did not expect that this Insect Queen would be able to break free from the Underworld Lock Soul Net. One must know that the Underworld Lock Soul Net was a best-quality spiritual artifact. Even if it was the worst best-quality spiritual artifact, it was still a best-quality spiritual artifact. With another snapping sound, one of the Insect Queen's feet stretched out from the net. Ning Cheng knew that he could not continue to hesitate. In this kind of situation, once the Insect Queen broke free, he would not be able to do anything but wait for death. Ning Cheng simply did not care about the damage to his own foundation, as he crazily spat out a few mouthfuls of essence blood, and immediately shouted, "Explode for me." Even if he had to explode this best-quality spiritual artifact, he could not let the Insect Queen break free. Boom! A terrifying explosion sound erupted after the Underworld Lock Soul Net broke apart once again. The explosion of a best-quality spiritual artifact was not something that could be casually blocked. Even Ning Cheng's rank 5 imperial body would not be able to withstand the explosion of a best-quality spiritual artifact. At this time, Ning Qing certainly would not retreat. Ning Qing brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow to block the impact of the explosion of the spiritual artifact, while Ning Qing took advantage of this gap, and once again shot out with the spear in his hands. A spear shadow broke through the ripples created by the Underworld Lock Soul Net's explosion, before exploding towards the Insect Queen. This was something that Ning Qing had comprehended from that powerful spear shadow. He had used this move, and did not know how many people with higher cultivations than him had died, but this time he actually used it to deal with the Insect Queen. Chapter 386. Even if the Insect Queen's body was hard, under the explosion of the Underworld Lock Soul Net, it was instantly severely injured. The seriously injured Insect Queen knew that Ning Qing's spear was terrifying, and this spear had already made it feel the crisis of death. At this moment, the Insect Queen erupted with an astonishing power. Even if the Underworld Lock Soul Net's explosion had left it riddled with scars, even with several of its legs broken, the Insect Queen still issued out a terrifying roar. Some of the insects that had not been killed by the battle disc, on hearing the Insect Queen's roar, immediately swarmed towards Ning Qing. However, the speed of the 5-star battle disc's white light was even faster, and all the insects that rushed towards Ning Qing were instantly killed by the white light. The seriously injured Insect Queen eventually slowed down, allowing Ning Qing's long spear to pierce through the incomparably hard body of the Insect Queen. Bang bang! Under the overflowing killing intent of the spear intent, the Insect Queen's severely injured legs instantly burst apart. The Insect Queen's cries turned even more pitiful, as the only remaining intact leg gave up on resisting the long spear. Changing its direction, in just a blink of an eye, it struck Ning Qing's body. At the same time, the Insect Queen spat out a white light towards Ning Qing's waist. Ning Qing could barely shift his position, but there was nothing he could do. The gap between him and the Insect Queen was simply too big. If replaced by an ordinary late-stage soul essence cultivator, they would have already lost their life. Poof! Ka! The white light streaked across Ning Qing's waist. Even if Ning Qing had a rank 5 imperial body, he still ended up in a bloody mist. However, this rank 5 imperial body also saved Ning Qing's life, otherwise, he would not have ended up in a bloody mist, but would have been cut in two. At the same time that the white light streaked across Ning Qing's waist, the Insect Queen's intact leg also struck Ning Qing's body. Ning Qing was instantly sent flying upside down, while the bones in his body issued ka-ka sounds. Although Ning Qing was sent flying upside down, the long spear in his hand did not fall out. The long spear had already pierced through the body of the Insect Queen. Now that Ning Qing was sent flying, the long spear was brought out, splashing out a trail of green liquid several feet long. The Insect Queen gave out another blood-curdling screech, as it kicked off with its only intact leg. With its two injured legs, it instantly escaped from the battlefield and soon disappeared. In this battle, the rank 5 battle disc had killed hundreds of millions of insects, while the Insect Queen and Ning Qing both suffered. When the Insect Queen escaped, Ning Qing struggled to even stand up. Ning Qing swallowed a few pills. Seeing that many people from the Jab's line of defense had started to swarm over, he knew that he had to leave this place as soon as possible. Even if he wanted to come here again, he would have to wait until his injuries were healed. This time, his injuries were not light. Fortunately, the Insect Queen had escaped, otherwise, he would not have had the strength to fight back. Seeing the battle disc sifting orchid fly over and descend, Ning Qing used all his strength to crawl towards the battle disc. Yi Lei quickly helped the bloodstained Ning Qing into the battle disc, while speaking, "Quickly go inside the Jab's line of defense, Big Brother Ning needs help." The battle disc did not move at all. For sifting orchid, as long as Ning Qing did not issue any instructions, then the ownership of the battle disc belonged to Ning Qing alone. No one else had the right to command it. Ning Qing struggled as he spoke to Yi Lei, "You go down, there's nothing for you to do here. No, your injuries are too severe. I have to take care of you. You should hurry up and let your flying saucer enter the Jab's line of defense. Not to mention about the insects coming from this place, your injuries also need immediate treatment. As Lei spoke until here, she suddenly called out in surprise, the people inside are coming, wait for them to help. Ning Cheng was no longer in the mood to talk with Lei, as he directly spoke to Sifting Orchid, leave this place as fast as you can. Go to the southern Heaven Feral Brook Mountain. After saying those words, Ning Cheng immediately began to dissolve the medicinal pills to heal his injuries. The strength of the insect queen was simply too formidable. Moreover, when he was completely exhausted, it had slammed into his body, causing his Zifu to shake and even his meridians to split open. However, Ning Cheng believed that with his medicinal pills and healing abilities, it would only take a few days at most for his injuries to fully recover. The difference in strength between him and the insect queen was simply too great. Moreover, the insect queen was just like him, after coming to Earth, its strength had dropped by a lot. Fortunately, the spiritual chi on Earth was scarce, as such the insect queen might not even have 1/100th of its original strength. Otherwise, even if he recovered to his peak, he would definitely not be a match for the insect queen. This kind of giant insect with such strength was simply not something that he could tame, not to mention taking it away from Earth. The first thing he needed to do now was to restore his full strength, and then find the hiding place of this giant insect and kill it. Otherwise, once this giant insect recovered a part of its strength, as long as he encountered it, then he would definitely die. As for the rest of the life on Earth, they would definitely turn into ashes. Lei, on seeing that the battle disc had not entered the Jab's line of defense, couldn't help but ask in a daze, "Big brother Ning, you have such heavy injuries, why don't you go to the line of defense to heal?" Ning Cheng gave a sneer, he was simply too lazy to answer. Lei, on seeing Ning Cheng's sneer, instantly understood. Ning Cheng was currently seriously injured. Once he went to the Jab's line of defense, in case someone coveted his battle disc or even him, it would not be good for him. Lei turned silent, she already understood that it was not a good thing for her to call Ning Cheng to go to the Jab's line of defense. Inihue had killed so many insects in the Jab's line of defense, and finally had his essence weapon snatched away. If not for Delandi taking Inihue away, Inihue would have already been killed. The several commanders who had rushed out of the Jab's line of defense, as well as the countless soldiers, all looked up at the black battle disc in the distance. At this moment, the entire line of defense was completely silent. As for who the person who had come to save them was, nobody knew. However, everyone was very clear that if not for this black flying saucer coming to save them, this line of defense would have long since been devoid of any human life. At this time, outside the Jab's line of defense, there was an endless pile of insect materials. The value of these materials was simply incalculable. However, no one went to collect the materials first, as all the people just watched the black flying saucer disappear. However, this kind of watching only lasted for less than half a minute. After the battle disc disappeared, almost all the people rushed towards these insect materials. These were all riches, innumerable riches. Tian Muan suddenly sat up, and the first thing she did was to grab the clothes covering her chest. However, she quickly understood that nothing was missing from her body, and that her body was completely normal. As a true cultivator, she immediately knew that she had not been violated. What was going on? Did that scarlet-robed man suddenly find his conscience? No, this was her residence in the External Domain Hotel, it was her own room. She put down her hands and recalled the previous events. She had been threatened by the scarlet-robed man, and had gone to see Ning Cheng before she died, before returning to the scarlet-robed man's place. Finally, she had severed her meridians to commit suicide. That's right, she had obviously severed her meridians, so why were there no problems with her meridians now? The fragrance of a spiritual grass lingered in her mouth, causing Tian Muan to come to understand that she had indeed severed her meridians. Someone should have used a pill to save her. She had seen rank 1 spiritual grasses before, as such the pill that she had taken was definitely not refined from a rank 1 spiritual grass. How could such a thing as a pill appear on Earth? On Earth, who else could perform alchemy? Who would be willing to use this kind of precious pill to save her? It was absolutely impossible for that scarlet-robed man to find his conscience and save her. That person was cruel and vicious, so how could he possibly save her? Tian Muan immediately dialed the phone number of the helper she had left here. In just a few minutes, she had figured out that no one had seen her return, and no one had seen anyone send her back. In other words, someone had saved her, and even sent her back without anyone knowing about it. Who was this person? Roland, I want to set up the company in Jiangzhou, and leave the 100 Bay Point tomorrow. Dai Xian thought for a long time before finally speaking out her thoughts. Ning Rulan knew about Dai Xian's thoughts. Her big brother wanted to take her away from here. Dai Xian would be responsible for the Cheng Rulan company in the future. Dai Xian wanted to prove to her big brother that she had the ability to manage the Cheng Rulan company well before she left with her big brother. Okay, you can go. This company will be yours in the future, you can decide how you want to do it. Remember not to forget about cultivation, maybe in the future, me and my big brother will come back. The few sisters in our dormitory, if they are willing, you can also let them enter the company, especially Shiyun. You have always been helping me, I have never done anything. Ning Rulan was the same as Ning Cheng, a sentimental person. She had always wanted to thank her sisters, but never had the opportunity to do so. Now that she had to leave, she asked Dai Xian to help her fulfill her wish. Even if you don't say it, I already know about it. Shiyun is in Jiangzhou, and I was planning to ask her to be my assistant. Roland, I think you might as well come with me to Jiangzhou. Dai Xian was persuading Ning Rulan to go to Jiangzhou together, when Inihue's voice arrived from the outside. President Dai, Miss Tian Muan has come to visit. Dai Xian immediately frowned. Didn't she come here before? Why did she come again? Moreover, she even made elder brother Xiaocheng unhappy. This woman is really like a ghost. Little Xian, forget it, she is also a person that my big brother likes. Besides, I really wronged her, I thought that she was the one who harmed my big brother. If not her, then who? If not for her, how could elder brother Xiaocheng leave Earth? Tian Muan sat for a while, before she saw Ning Rulan come in. She immediately stood up, and without any nonsense, directly said, I want to see your big brother. Ning Rulan calmly looked at Tian Muan. This woman was really beautiful, no wonder her big brother was so obsessed with her. Even now, her big brother could not completely forget this woman, otherwise he would not have been absent-minded that day. Do you want to be my sister-in-law? Compared to more than a month ago, Ning Rulan no longer had that kind of fear, nor did she have any fear. She was only at the Qi gathering first level, and already knew how powerful her strength was. She did not know to what extent her big brother had cultivated. Tian Muan felt the change in Ning Rulan, and was slightly surprised, but did not feel that Ning Rulan's words were harsh to the ears. It's not that, I just want to say two things. What Tian Muan wanted to say was that she could let Delandi leave Ning Rulan, but she did not know why she wanted to help Ning Cheng. Perhaps she had reflected on herself, and felt that she was too arbitrary in many areas. Just as that scarlet-robed man said, she was too self-centered. No matter why she had not died, she was a person who had already died once. After finishing these things, she decided to leave the Tian family, and look for cultivation resources to slowly cultivate. Inihue's voice once again arrived, Elder Sister Ning, Delandi is waiting outside, he wants to see you. Oh. Chapter 387. Sister Ning. Tian Muan looked at Ning Rulan in doubt. Moreover, what was the meaning of Delandi waiting outside? Delandi wanted to see Ning Rulan, but he still had to wait. I'll go out and have a look. In Ning Rulan's heart, Delandi's status was much higher than Tian Muan's. After all, even if she and her big brother left, Delandi still had to support the Cheng Rulan company. To her, Tian Mu Wan was just a bystander. Elder sister Ning, I just received the news that when the Jab's line of defense was about to collapse, a flying saucer suddenly appeared. The flying saucer's combat ability was very strong, and it had already killed hundreds of millions of insects. The killed insects piled up into a continuous mountain range. Now that the insect queen is seriously injured and has to retreat, I must immediately go to the Jab's line of defense. Delandi spoke with a bow. Ning Rulan was Ning Cheng's little sister. Moreover, Ning Cheng treated his little sister like a treasure, as such how could he dare to neglect her even for half a moment? He was very clear in his heart, even if he neglected Ning Cheng, it might not be a big deal, but he absolutely could not neglect Ning Cheng's younger sister. Sister Ning again. Tian Muan, who was following behind, couldn't help but look at Delandi in shock. What was going on? What she saw was that Delandi was not bossing Ning Rulan around, rather he was respectfully asking Ning Rulan for instructions. Was it not Ning Cheng who pushed his sister to Delandi in exchange for the other party's support? Did he get the wrong information? At this moment, Tian Muan suddenly discovered that Tian Yen, who was killed by Ning Cheng, seemed to have given her a lot of false information. Ning Rulan nodded, Delandi, you go. I will soon be leaving the Cheng Rulan company with my elder brother. Regardless of whether my elder brother is here or not, I hope that you can support the Cheng Rulan company and help Dai Xin as much as possible. My brother left some rewards for you. If you do well in the future, Dai Xin will give you some. Delandi quickly spoke up with joy, you and elder brother Ning can rest assured that I will not forget elder brother Ning and your instructions. Ning Rulan was just about to speak, when she heard the sound of an alarm ringing out, followed by a loud bang coming from the door. Inihue, who was standing guard outside, flew in. Not bad, your injuries have actually healed. A sarcastic voice came from behind Inihue as he flew in. Inihue, who was sitting on the ground, clenched his fists. He could not wait to rush up and kill this person. However, he knew that the disparity between him and this person was just too big. Who are you? Ning Rulan subconsciously took a few steps back and stared at the man who was walking in unhurriedly. This person didn't look very old, only less than 30 years old. However, his eyes were a little sinister, his face was yellow, and his hands were very white. Delandi, you tell him who I am. The man gave Delandi a smile. Inihue wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, and without waiting for Delandi to open his mouth, he spoke out in a hateful voice, Elder Sister Ning, this person is Yen Rui. In the Jab's line of defense, even the first commander Flavihill could not do anything to him. My essence weapon was stolen by him. Delandi quickly spoke up, Yen Rui, Inihue has already left the Jab's line of defense. For you to chase him all the way here, it is a bit too much. There's an old saying in Wuxia, leave a way out for others. Durandi, if you don't speak, then no one will treat you as a mute. I'll give you a bit of face, so don't take it too seriously. Yen Rui's face sank as he stared at Delandi. After Delandi heard these words, his complexion slightly changed, but he did not dare to reply. Although he was one of the 5 major experts, but that was only on the surface. In fact, among the 5 major experts, other than the first expert Xing Liang, who did not fear Yen Rui, even Homer would have to lower his voice in front of Yen Rui. If not for Yen Rui not wanting to become famous, then one of the 5 major experts would definitely have to be replaced by Yen Rui. Seeing Delandi's complexion change, and not daring to speak loudly, Ning Rulan knew that this person was definitely not simple. She did not know how powerful Grey Toot Toot was, she only knew that her big brother had told her that if anyone dared to offend her, then she should directly call Grey Toot Toot to deal with them. I just broke the dog legs of all the watchdogs, you wouldn't make me angry, would you? Seeing Delandi not speaking, Yen Rui did not let it go, as he leaned towards Delandi and asked. After asking this question, Yen Rui's gaze swept towards Ning Rulan, before falling onto Tian Muan. You are luckier than me, you will soon be rich. Saying that, he raised his hand and pointed at Ning Rulan. You accompany me inside. Grey Toot Toot, don't show any mercy. Ning Rulan was so angry that she no longer cared about anything else, as she directly told Grey Toot Toot not to show any mercy. Yen Rui had not yet reacted, when he felt a sharp grey shadow rushing towards him. Bang! The grey shadow's foot landed on his dantian, causing Yen Rui to feel his head go black, as an indescribable pain washed over him, while his entire body was blasted away. Quang dang! A sound rang out, as Yen Rui smashed onto the side of the door that had just opened. Falling to the ground, he immediately spurted out a mouthful of blood. You! Yen Rui stared in shock at Grey Toot Toot, who had already returned to sit on the sofa, and could only speak a single word. Ning Rulan did not expect that Yen Rui, whom Delandi dreaded, would not even have the strength to fight back in front of Grey Toot Toot, before being knocked down by Grey Toot Toot. She did not see that Yen Rui's dantian had already shattered, and only thought that Yen Rui had suffered a small loss. Even if that was the case, she was still pleasantly surprised. Monstrous beast, it turned out to be a monstrous beast. Yen Rui muttered. Tian Muan also looked at Grey Toot Toot in shock. She had cultivated out a part of her spiritual sense, so of course she could feel the spiritual power fluctuations in the air. An attack with spiritual power fluctuations, it obviously belonged to a monstrous beast without a doubt. For it to be able to seriously injure Yen Rui with just a kick, it was at least a Class 3 monstrous beast or above. Since when did such a monstrous beast appear on Earth? Moreover, was it Ning Rulan's pet? Tian Muan subconsciously glanced at Ning Rulan. She finally understood why Delandi was so submissive towards Ning Rulan. If this kind of monstrous beast wanted to kill Delandi, then it would be a simple matter. I'm leaving immediately. Yen Rui immediately reacted and realized that continuing to stay here was the same as waiting for death. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that others did not know that his dantian had shattered and quickly leave this place. Otherwise, Inihue would definitely be the first to take his life. Grey Toot Toot looked at Yen Rui with disdain as he struggled to get up. With a wave of his paw, a pill fell onto its paw. The next moment, this pill had already entered its mouth. This is not a low-level spirit pill. Tian Muan stared at Grey Toot Toot, while her heart churned endlessly. She vaguely understood something. Seeing Yen Rui struggling, Delandi shook his head and spoke, Mr. Yen, I told you to leave some leeway, but you did not listen to me. Now that your dantian has been destroyed, why bother? After Yen Rui heard those words, his complexion immediately changed. He certainly knew what Delandi's words meant, it was simply to take his life. Sure enough, after Inihue heard Delandi's words, he once again wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, before leaping up and stepping on Yen Rui's face. Catcha, the sound of his facial bones breaking resounded, causing Yen Rui's heart to sink to the bottom. He knew that he was finished. Even if his master could help him take revenge in the end, he would not be able to see it. Bang bang. Inihue's fists were just like raindrops as they fell onto Yen Rui's body. You snatched this father's essence weapon, this father rushed to the front to kill those insects, yet you, a coward, still want to play dirty. Bang! Bang! Inihue's resentment completely exploded onto Yen Rui's body at this moment. He was very grateful to Grey Toot Toot for helping him kick him. Dai Xian spoke up from the side, he's already dead. Inihue, who was still in a state of madness, calmed down. Yen Rui's face was covered in blood, and even his eyeballs had been knocked out. Elder Sister Ning, I'm going to deal with this garbage. Inihue finished, grabbed Yen Rui's body and quickly left the room. Even if Ning Rulan had seen her big brother kill Quake once, but seeing Yen Rui killed by Inihue, she still felt somewhat uncomfortable. Elder Sister Ning, I'll also take my leave. Delandi quickly retreated. No wonder Ning Cheng felt reassured to leave his little sister here. With such a heaven-defying puppy, with such an expert protecting her, who else would dare to make a move against Ning Ruolan? Fortunately, he had a good eye and knew that Ning Cheng was not an ordinary person. Now it really looks like it was the case. Ruolan, what about your brother? Tian Muan asked again. At this moment, she found that her pride was just too ridiculous. Since Ning Ruolan had such a powerful assistant, would she still need her help? The last time you came here, my big brother left with you, and has not returned yet. If you have anything to say, just tell me, I'll pass it on to my big brother. Ning Ruolan spoke in a calm voice. Tian Muan understood the meaning behind Ning Ruolan's words, that is, she did not want her to go looking for Ning Cheng. At this moment, she felt a bit depressed in her heart. It was reasonable to say that this was the intention of the Tian family, to not let her have any contact with Ning Cheng. She did not expect that it would be the other way around, and that it would turn out to be Ning Cheng's little sister's intention. Tian Muan remembered that when she was rescued, she had also come here to look for Ning Cheng. Did Ning Cheng save her? But how could Ning Cheng have such a great ability? She subconsciously looked at Grey Toot Toot lying on a large sofa. If a dog could eat a spirit pill, then who gave it this spirit pill? Ning Cheng had disappeared for 3 years, was it related to this? Was this dog-like monstrous beast also brought back by Ning Cheng? Ruolan, was Grey Toot Toot brought back by your big brother? Although Tian Muan had already guessed it, she still asked. Ning Ruolan also did not hide it, yes, Grey Toot Toot was left here by my big brother to protect me. Tian Muan completely understood that she was saved by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had gone missing for 3 years, he must have had some extraordinary fortuitous encounters, just like her, perhaps he was also a true cultivator. She immediately thought of the scene of her meeting with Ning Cheng in the ocean capital. She had thought that Ning Cheng did not seek to make progress, and did not dare to see her for 3 years. She also thought that she and Ning Cheng were not in the same world. She was a true cultivator, while Ning Cheng was just a scenery in her heart that she could not erase. Now that she was clear about this, she felt that it was somewhat ironic. They were indeed not in the same world, it was not that Ning Cheng was too far away from her, but rather she was too far away from Ning Cheng. To put it bluntly, she was a true cultivator, yet she used her family as an excuse to reject Ning Cheng. In the end, it was just a pitiful pride. Tian Muan did not continue to ask, she walked out of the place, she knew that she would never appear in this place again. Ning Cheng could have saved her, but he was not willing to see her, it was clear that she had hurt him too deeply. Although the reason for their separation was different, in the end, they still returned to the original starting point, the two of them were not in the same world. Seeing each other was like not seeing each other, how could there be no feelings? After Ning Cheng came back, this sentence appeared in her heart for the second time, but the meaning was completely different this time. Chapter 388. The speed of the 5-star battle disc was incomparably fast, and in just a short time, it was already far away from the Jab's line of defense. At the same time, Sifting Orchid's voice sounded out once again, the location of the Feral Brook Mountain is unclear, please give us a clear location. I know where the Feral Brook Mountain is, but Big Brother Ning, should I cook something for you to eat first? Lei could also feel that Ning Cheng was recovering very quickly, causing her to breathe a sigh of relief, but the first thing that came to her mind was to get something for Ning Cheng to eat. As for going to the Feral Brook Mountain earlier or later, it didn't matter. Ning Cheng knew that the battle disc did not know anything about the Feral Brook Mountain. The reason why he did not forcibly call out to Lei was that he might need Lei's help. Lei, I'm not hungry right now. Give me the sketch of the Feral Brook Mountain, then I will find a place to put you down. After I leave, I don't know when I will come back, so you don't have to come with me. Taking several medicinal pills in succession, coupled with his imperial body, Ning Cheng's body quickly recovered. Now that he heard that Lei really knew the way to the Feral Brook Mountain, he hurriedly said. Lei turned silent, before she took out a map from her bosom and handed it to Ning Cheng and spoke, "The Feral Brook Mountain is on it, you can take a look at it yourself." Ning Cheng did not look at the map, he put the map aside and spoke, "Sifting Orchid, find an open place to stop, and let Lei go down." The battle disc soon stopped at the outskirts of a city. After opening the door, Sifting Orchid did not immediately leave. She looked at Ning Cheng for a good while before she spoke, "Big brother Ning, I'm sorry, this time I have implicated you. However, I am very grateful to you. Without you, not to mention the Jab's line of defense, even the humans inside the line of defense would have faced destruction. I will always remember everything you have done for us. Lei, I was just doing it out of convenience. Moreover, the insect queen is still alive. You can rest assured that after my injuries are healed, I will definitely go and kill that insect." Ning Cheng was slightly infected by Lei. His intention to kill the insects was not as simple as Lei's. Lei was the truly fearless human being. However, his promise to kill the heavily injured insect before he left was indeed not for himself. If it was for himself, there was no need for him to go anymore. Because he knew very well that he couldn't tame that bug, let alone take it away. "Thank you, big brother Ning." Lei stared at Ning Cheng without blinking. Ning Cheng felt a bit embarrassed, but did not know what to say. Lei didn't have a spirit root. If she had a spirit root, he would let Lei help Dai Xian, and at the same time, cultivate. Lei's innocence made Ning Cheng feel ashamed. After a good while, Lei slowly spoke up, "I have a hunch that after Big Brother Ning kills that huge insect, he will disappear from our sight. Perhaps we will never meet again." Ning Cheng remained silent. He had never thought that Lei's premonition would be so accurate. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Lei knew that her words were not wrong. She looked at Ning Cheng's severely injured waist and whispered, "Actually, I wanted to wait for you to kill the insect queen, and then give myself to you. Not to be with you, not to thank you. But because I like what you said. A woman's most precious thing should be given to the person she truly loves." After saying these words, Lei exhaled, and her complexion also became a lot more cheerful. "Big brother Ning, I know that I am not worthy of you, but after saying these words, I feel a lot more comfortable in my heart." After saying that, Lei walked towards the hatch. She felt very comfortable, at least during the entire process of Ning Cheng killing the insect. She was at his side, at least she was able to say her own words. "Lei." Ning Cheng called out to Lei, "I will not say anything else, but we will not meet again." Lei turned around, her face had a relaxed expression, which meant that she knew. "I want to give you a suggestion, do not go to the Jab's line of defense in the future. If you can, withdraw from the alliance. As for the matter of the insect, it will be solved. The alliance is not suitable for people like you to stay." Ning Cheng slowly spoke. Ning Cheng thought about these words for a long time. He guessed that Lei would not withdraw from the alliance, but he could not help but say it out loud. "I know, even if you did not say it, I would not stay in the alliance. After you refused to go to the Jab's line of defense to heal, I understood a lot of things. You do not have to worry, I am not as stupid as you think." Lei smiled. Ning Cheng sighed, took out a short sword and a book, and handed it to Lei and spoke, "This is an essence weapon, you take it, do not let others see it. There is also this book, it is a martial cultivation method that I obtained from another place, I wrote it down when I had nothing to do. You do not have a spiritual root, as such I do not know if you can cultivate this martial cultivation method or not. If you cannot cultivate it, then you can just burn it in the future. Thank you for looking at me in a different light, but I already have a wife." Lei grabbed the short sword and the book given to her by Ning Cheng, as she looked at the disappearing black flying saucer, and finally could not help but blur her eyes. She had fallen in love with this man the moment he had rushed towards the insect queen. There was no reason, no process, it was just that simple. When the man had been swatted away by the insect queen, she had wished that she was the one who had been injured. However, from the beginning to the end, she was very clear that this man did not belong to her. She really did not know what kind of woman his wife would turn out to be. In a very inconspicuous place at the top of the Wild Brooch Mountain, there was a ring, which was concealed by a concealment restriction. This was Ning Cheng's miniature world. Ning Cheng had stayed in this miniature world for 10 days, during these 10 days, his injuries had long since healed. Although there was still some distance between his body refining and the rank 6 imperial body, but because of this battle, he had taken a step forward compared to before. Ning Cheng did not come out of the miniature world. He was still restoring his cultivation inside the miniature world. Knowing that Earth was not as stable as he had imagined, Ning Cheng immediately wanted to restore his cultivation. At this moment, his cultivation had already recovered to the 9th level of the Essence Soul Realm. Another week passed by, when Ning Cheng's cultivation began to stagnate, he gave out a long sigh. His cultivation had completely recovered, reaching the 4th level of Soul Sculpting Realm. Although his cultivation had recovered, Ning Cheng still did not come out of the miniature world. Instead, he took out the 36 small axes. These 36 axes were specially crafted by Tsang Wei for him, 18 of them were Cosmic True Axes and 18 of them were Extreme Devil True Axes. Not only that, these 36 small axes were all top-grade true artifacts. In the Tian continent, even a single best-grade true weapon was priceless, let alone 36 best-grade true weapons. If not for Ning Cheng's powerful spiritual consciousness, he would not have been able to control these 36 best-quality true artifacts. Even if these 36 axes were specially crafted by Tsang Wei for Ning Cheng, it still took Ning Cheng a full week to refine them. A week later, 18 golden axe shadows and 18 black axe shadows revolved around Ning Cheng's body. Feeling the formidable power of these 36 axes, Ning Cheng's confidence greatly increased. Once these 36 axes formed an axe array, coupled with his axe intent, it would definitely turn into a great killing weapon. If he had to deal with the insect queen at this time, Ning Cheng believed that even if he did not use the spiritual artifact net to self-destruct, he would still be able to inflict serious damage to that huge insect queen. Ning Cheng left the miniature world and came outside. Under the stimulation of several spiritual consciousness methods, the 36 small axes transformed into a yellow and black axe line. The surrounding air was instantly locked down by this axe line. The next moment, the axe line blasted out a nearly 100 feet long ravine on the summit of the Wild Dragon Mountain. Ning Cheng sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Was this not his angry axe, the first trace? The angry axe, the first trace, could also be displayed in such a way, which was even more powerful than the method he had used in the past. Ning Cheng, with a heroic spirit in his heart, once again waved his hand, and the 36 axe shadows simultaneously drew an imperceptible arc, as it rolled out a twisting axe shadow. The surrounding air began to show faint cracks. It could be imagined that any life form would not be able to survive under these cracks. This was the angry axe's third form, axe line. This third form was displayed in this way, and the killing intent was even more fierce. Along with Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, these axe lines instantly rolled up into a huge whirlpool. Just like a tornado whistling out, the ravine that was split open by the first trace, under the killing force of this tornado, disappeared in an instant. It was as if a huge shovel had just been shoveled out. Bang! The tornado finally gathered together, and exploded on the ground. The hard rocks on the ground turned into ashes, and turned into a yellow fog. Angry Axe's second form, Tornado. The 36 best quality true artifacts combined to form a killing force. Even if it was the same move, it was more than 10 times stronger than before. Ning Cheng stood at the top of the mountain and gave out a long and loud roar. He finally had a foothold to stand on. As long as he could learn this spiritual technique, even if he had to face a crucible transformation cultivator, he would have the confidence to speak. Even if he was not an opponent, he could still calmly walk away. Chapter 389. With his cultivation restored, and the 36 small axes also finished being refined, Ning Cheng's heart finally calmed down. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out in a wide range. He wanted to see what kind of good things the Feral Brook Mountain had in the end that could allow that scarlet-robed man's cultivation to progress so quickly. One had to know that the spiritual qi on the earth was scarce. If there were no truly good things, then even if this scarlet-robed man's qualifications were high, it would still be impossible for him to cultivate to the peak of the profound congealing realm in just a few decades. This was not the I Ching mainland, where one could cultivate to this level with just a little bit of aptitude. But after 2 hours, Ning Cheng was somewhat disappointed. The Feral Brook Mountain was only 100 miles in circumference. Moreover, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had repeatedly swept through the area, but he couldn't find anything good. He couldn't even find a single spiritual grass. It seemed that the scarlet-robed man had deceived him. If the scarlet-robed man didn't have some other secret to his cultivation, then the Feral Brook Mountain was not the place where the scarlet-robed man's cultivation speed was the fastest. Ning Cheng was not too disappointed. He had a lot of good things. If he could find them, then it would be his luck. If he could not find them, then it would not matter. After recovering his strength, the first thing Ning Cheng wanted to do was to exterminate that giant insect. The longer this dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. That insect queen definitely didn't have as many resources as he did to recover from his injuries and cultivation. This was the best time to find the insect queen. With Ning Cheng's current cultivation at the 4th level of soul sculpting realm, he still did not have the means to sweep out his spiritual consciousness across the entire earth. As such, he could only rely on the help of the 5-star battle disc. The 5-star battle disc quickly found the meteorite within the Russian Empire's territory, while simultaneously discovering the location of the insect queen. In just over half an hour, the 5-star battle disc finally landed in the middle of this barren desert. Ning Cheng put away the battle disc, and saw a huge mountain-like meteorite in front of him. This meteorite was full of bumps and hollows, just like a honeycomb. Countless bugs attached themselves to this huge meteorite. What made Ning Cheng puzzled was that other than some small insects attached to the meteorites, there were no other demon insects nearby. It seemed that any demonic insect that could move independently was not allowed to stay near this meteorite. As soon as Ning Cheng arrived, the huge insect queen in the meteorite immediately discovered him. The insect queen immediately roared and emerged from the top of the meteorite. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and 36 small axes immediately appeared around his body, while at the same time Ning Cheng also grasped the long spear that he was unable to refine. Although his cultivation had soared, while the strength of the insect queen had declined, Ning Cheng did not show any carelessness. Before this insect queen landed on Earth, it was definitely a terrifying existence. Ning Cheng feared that even a crucible transformation cultivator would only be an ant in front of this insect queen. In the face of such a terrifying existence, how could Ning Cheng dare to be careless? A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Not to mention, not only did the insect queen not starve to death, it even had a nest here. The insect queen stared at Ning Cheng and roared in anger, as if to say that Ning Cheng was a busybody. Ning Cheng did not care about the insect queen's roar, as the 36 small axes in his hands gave off a whistling sound as they tore through the air. In just a twinkling of an eye, an axe line of intersecting black and white lines appeared. Bang! The intersecting black and white axe lines exploded on top of the huge meteorite, unexpectedly causing Ning Cheng's 36 small axes to scatter. Even the indomitable killing force also dissipated without a trace. Ning Cheng stared at the meteorite in shock. Even if it was a hard meteorite, under his first trace, it would still turn into powder. However, this meteorite was not damaged in the slightest. Not only that, but it had also shattered his small axe. This was definitely not a meteorite, but rather a magical weapon. Ning Cheng had just realized that this was a magical weapon, when he felt the insect queen's imposing manner crazily rising. Soon, the imposing manner of the insect queen completely disintegrated his imposing manner. As the formidable imposing manner assaulted him, Ning Cheng's complexion turned pale as he retreated a few dozen steps. This kind of imposing manner, even he had never seen it coming from a crucible transformation cultivator. However, elder brother Tsang Wei's body gave him this kind of imposing manner. This was definitely an imposing manner that came from outside the starry skies. Today is not going to be good. Ning Cheng tightly grasped the long spear as he stared at the insect queen on top of the meteorite. In the face of this imposing manner, he simply could not come forward. If it were any other place, Ning Cheng would have already prepared the talisman to go to the Yixing mainland. But now that Ruolan was still here, he absolutely could not leave. Just as Ning Cheng was racking his brains, trying to think of a way to deal with this insect queen, the huge meteorite suddenly started to rotate. At the same time, it gave off a buzzing sound. This really was a magical weapon. Ning Cheng had just thought of this, when a powerful imposing manner, to the point that he almost could not breathe, blasted towards him, causing Ning Cheng to spit out a mouthful of blood. He did not even think about it, as he stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, and instantly escaped. Ning Cheng only stopped when he was more than 10 miles away. The oppressive imposing manner in this place had already reduced a lot. Just by relying on its imposing manner, this insect queen was simply heaven-defying. Even if he knew that he was not an opponent for the insect queen, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness still kept a close eye on the insect queen on top of the meteorite. He was sure that this was a secret technique used by the insect queen to stimulate its vitality, otherwise, an injured insect queen would not be this powerful. As long as he waited for the power of this secret technique to pass, he would then have the absolute upper hand. From the moment that the insect queen did not dare to leave the meteorite to attack him, Ning Cheng knew that this insect queen would have to use this meteorite to activate its secret technique, otherwise, it would not be able to display its full power. However, the meteorite was spinning faster and faster, to the point that even Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could not keep up with it. After a few breaths, the insect queen suddenly burst out with an ear-piercing screech, while simultaneously standing up from the meteorite, it opened its mouth wide and bit into the air. A dark passage, bitten open by the insect queen, appeared within the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. Sensing the vast aura of the starry skies, Ning Cheng looked at this dark passage in shock. Although he had never tore through the void before, he knew that this definitely tore through the void domain. Under the effect of the insect queen's secret technique, it could actually tear through the void domain. Just how terrifying was this existence? Even if the void domain on Earth was weak, it was not something that could be easily torn apart. If the last time he fought against the insect queen, if the insect queen could activate this secret technique, then even if he had 100 lives, he would not have been able to survive. Some scattered spatial wind edges flew down from the void, and one of them shot towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not dare to block it with his long spear, and directly brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Catcha, a sound emerged, and the everlasting Blue Thunder City directly turned into nothingness under the spatial wind edges. At this time, Ning Cheng saw the meteorite carrying the insect queen and the countless insects rush into the black hole of nothingness at the speed of a meteor, disappearing in just a twinkling of an eye. After the meteorite carrying the insect queen disappeared, the pitch-black hole also disappeared. The surroundings turned quiet, as if nothing had happened. Ning Cheng's back oozed with cold sweat. He did not expect that after the insect queen arrived at the meteorite's nest, it would unexpectedly tear through the void and escape. Fortunately, the insect queen's secret technique required the help of a meteorite-type weapon. Otherwise, he would not have come here to kill the insect queen, but rather to die. Although the insect queen left, there were still many insects on Earth. Ning Cheng did not continue to kill these insects. He knew that without the insect queen, these insects would not be able to cause any damage to the major lines of defense, and would sooner or later be destroyed by the martial artists. See Capital Foreign Languages Academy, Girls' Dormitory Building 7, downstairs. Some well-dressed boys stood here in high spirits, some of them even holding a bouquet of flowers in their hands. Obviously, the boys standing here were waiting for their girlfriends. Ning Qing walked to the management auntie downstairs and politely asked, "Auntie, please help me call Su Li from room 302. The reason why he wanted to look for Su Li was that Su Li had helped him once. Before he left, it was only right for him to come and say hello. "Are you looking for Su Li?" The auntie had not yet answered, when a crisp voice sounded out from beside Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng turned around and saw a fair-skinned girl, holding a few books in her hands and wearing a bow on her head, giving her a very spirited look. "Yes, I'm looking for Su Li." Ning Cheng quickly replied. "Elder brother Xiaocheng, you really came." A surprised voice sounded out. Ning Cheng had already seen Su Li coming over. The girl holding the books looked at Su Li and smiled. "I was going to take him to see you, your eyes are quite sharp. Is this your boyfriend?" Saying that, the girl looked at Ning Cheng from top to bottom. She felt that Ning Cheng did not have anything special about him, even his clothes were very ordinary, but he had a different temperament. As for what was different about him, she could not tell. "That's right, I'm leaving. You helped me last time, so before I leave, I came here to thank you," Ning Cheng said. Su Li quickly spoke up, "You don't need to thank me for such a small thing. Elder brother Xiaocheng, you finally came here with great difficulty, let's go eat together. Last time because of some things, I was not able to go, but this time I must definitely go. No, there is a pill here, it can help you retain your youthful looks, I'll give it to you as thanks. I'm leaving." Ning Cheng did not even say goodbye. He knew that this meeting would definitely be indefinite, as such saying goodbye would not make any sense. Grabbing a jade bottle, looking at Ning Cheng's disappearing figure, Su Li muttered, "Sure enough, I really did not make a mistake last time." Ning Cheng had suddenly disappeared, as if he had never come here. "Hey, where's your friend?" The girl holding the book stared at the place where Ning Cheng stood in surprise. Where was Ning Cheng's shadow? Chapter 390. Big brother, you're back. Her big brother had left for more than 10 days, and now that he had returned, Ning Rulan was pleasantly surprised. Ning Cheng patted the head of Grey Toot Toot who had just jumped over, and spoke to Ning Rulan, "That's right, everything is done. We're getting ready to go. Where's Dai Xan?" Dai Xan moved the company to Jiangzhou. She is also in Jiangzhou. Ning Rulan quickly spoke up. Then, Ning Rulan spoke about Yan Rui's provocation. Regarding Yan Rui being killed by Yinhui, Ning Cheng simply did not care about it. What he was worried about was that Xing Liang. In this place, no matter how powerful Xing Liang was, he did not take him seriously. At best, he was just an ant. But now that he was leaving, would Xing Liang find trouble with Dai Xian after giving her so many Dharma artifacts to sell? Did Xing Liang come? Ning Cheng did not feel relieved and asked. He didn't come. I heard from Delandi that Xing Liang went missing in the insect battlefield. Most likely, he died. Ning Rulan replied. She knew that this Xing Liang was not polite to her big brother. It was just that this person didn't really come looking for him. Perhaps he was really dead. Ning Cheng had no way to find out if Xing Liang was dead or not. The earth was simply too big, and with his current spiritual consciousness, he was still unable to sweep through the entire earth. Call Dai Xian and ask her to pay attention to Xing Liang. We'll be leaving soon. Ning Cheng somewhat missed Ji Luofei and Shi Qianghua. Now that he had found his younger sister, he really did not want to waste any more time in this place. Ning Rulan had already prepared for this. Hearing her big brother's words, she immediately called Dai Xian. Although Dai Xian was somewhat reluctant, she was the one who had the clearest idea as to where Ning Cheng wanted to go. She knew that for Ning Cheng, staying on Earth would only be a waste of time. An hour later, Ning Rulan handed over the matters of the hotel to the person in charge here, before entering the miniature world with Grey Toot Toot and following Ning Cheng out of the 100 Bay Point. Inside a very ordinary coffee shop in Luotsang, Yi Lei calmly looked at Tian Mu Wan sitting opposite her. She had already left the alliance and returned home to cultivate. Tian Mu Wan being able to find this place, she did not find it strange. With the power of the Tian family, it was not difficult to find a person with a bit of fame like her. What she found strange was, why was Tian Mu Wan looking for her? She had only heard of Tian Mu Wan before, but did not know much about her. As for why Ning Cheng wanted to save Tian Mu Wan, she did not think much about it. In her opinion, Ning Cheng's heart was still very kind. If he was not kind, then Ning Cheng would not have fought against the countless insects because of her request, and even almost lost his life. At this time, Yi Lei had already washed away those miscellaneous things, and her daily life was very regular. In addition to reading books, she also cultivated the martial arts that Ning Cheng had left for her. She was very grateful to Ning Cheng, but she did not know what kind of cultivation method Ning Cheng had given her. The speed of her cultivation couldn't be described as 1,000 miles in a day. She was growing stronger by a level with each passing day. This cultivation method seemed to be naturally made for her. She could cultivate it with ease, without any bottlenecks. She could leap through any obstacles in one go. In the short span of a month, she believed that her strength had already leaped from a 2-star battle general to a 1-star battle marshal. There was no way to describe this, it was just a kind of intuition. Seeing that Yi Lei, who was dressed in casual attire, did not ask her anything, Tian Mu Wan took the initiative to speak up. I was looking for you to ask you a few things. Yi Lei nodded and spoke. If you are asking about who saved you that day, then I really do know. Ning Cheng saved you, and then I sent you to your hotel room. Tian Mu Wan indeed came to inquire about this matter. Although she was sure that it was Ning Cheng who saved her, she still wanted to confirm it with Yi Lei. Because she had heard that when Ning Cheng left that day, Yi Lei had also left together with Ning Cheng. Now that she heard Yi Lei's affirmative answer, she opened her mouth, while her heart felt as if a bottle of 5 flavors had been knocked over. After leaving the Cheng Rulan Hotel, she had also thought of looking for Ning Cheng to thank him, but her pride did not allow her to do so. Although she knew that she was not looking for Ning Cheng because of Ning Cheng's wealth and power, but in anyone's eyes, she was afraid that it was her purpose. Was he the one who killed the insects outside the Jab's line of defense? Tian Mu Wan once again asked in an incomparably dry voice. He was the one who killed them, and he was also the one who drove away the insect queen. For the sake of the Jab's line of defense, to prevent the insects from entering the humans' territory, he almost died together with the insects. Yi Lei did not deny it, as she knew that sooner or later, this matter would be known by others. The recording of Ning Cheng's fight with the insects was not something that only a single person would know. Once the recording was analyzed, it would soon be announced to the world. This kind of thing simply could not be stopped, as such she might as well simply admit it. What's wrong with him? Tian Mu Wan suddenly stood up with a worried look on her face. Yi Lei frowned, but soon she felt relieved. Tian Mu Wan's life was saved by Ning Cheng, as such she was concerned about Ning Cheng's life and death. He should be fine, you don't have to worry about it. Yi Lei quickly replied. Tian Mu Wan hesitated for a moment before she spoke. Where is he now? Yi Lei shook her head and spoke. I'm sorry, but I can't tell you. Moreover, I also don't know. Ning Cheng had gone to the Feral Brook Mountains a month ago. Whether he was currently in the Feral Brook Mountains or not, Yi Lei really did not know. Tian Mu Wan bit her lips and spoke. I'm sorry for disturbing you today, I just wanted to find him to thank him. Moreover, I used to be his girlfriend. Lei looked at Tianmu Wan in surprise. She did not think that Tianmu Wan and Ning Cheng would have a relationship of a couple. But soon she reacted, shook her head and spoke, "Ning Cheng already has a wife, whether what you said is true or false, I have no reason to believe it." "He's married?" Tianmu Wan suddenly felt a big iron awl piercing her heart. She had said it 10,000 times in her heart, that it was impossible for two people to be together. However, when she heard that Ning Cheng was married, she unexpectedly became absent-minded. However, she quickly calmed down. Wasn't it better for him to be married? When she had pushed Xing Jiyun to Ning Cheng, wasn't it because she wanted Ning Cheng and Xing Jiyun to marry? To make up for the guilt in her heart. "Thank you." Tianmu Wan stood up, her face somewhat pale. Seeing Tianmu Wan's appearance, Lei sighed, and just as Tianmu Wan was about to walk out of the coffee shop, she spoke, "He went to the Feral Brook Mountains once, as for whether he is there or not, I don't know." Tianmu Wan paused for a moment, did not answer, and quickly walked out. "Big brother, how did you become like this?" Ning Rulan, who was cultivating in the miniature world, stood up in horror when she saw Ning Cheng come in. Her big brother's face and hair had turned gray. It was much more serious than the first time she had seen him on Earth. "My strength is too low, every time I cross planes, I have to burn my lifespan as the price. However, you don't have to worry about it, the spiritual chi and the cultivation laws here are much stronger than those on Earth. In this place, I would only need 10 days at most before I can fully recover." Ning Cheng spoke without care. He did not say that it was for Rulan's sake, otherwise, Rulan would definitely feel sad in her heart. Seeing Rulan's crying appearance, Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, "Don't worry, once I advance to the sea opening realm, the lifespan that I lost would come back. It is not a great thing. But for you, your progress is not small, you are already at the chi gathering 3rd level. I listened to your words, and used the spiritual enhancement True Nectar to soak in and then cultivate, it really sped up my cultivation by several times." Ning Rulan was originally very happy that her progress was so fast, but seeing her big brother like this, she really could not be happy. "Your cultivation is still low, so continue to cultivate here, I will restore my cultivation outside. In this place, only strength is the absolute truth." Ning Cheng taught Ning Rulan in a very simple manner. Regarding the matters of the I Ching mainland, Ning Rulan had already heard from her big brother many times. Now that she heard Ning Cheng's teachings, she certainly would not be careless. "Big brother, is this the graceful star mainland?" Seeing Ning Rulan wanting to go out and have a look, Ning Cheng spoke up with a smile, "You can cultivate here. This is the bottom of the Blood River. I met elder brother Tsang Wei here, and it was elder brother Tsang Wei who helped me to go to Earth and come back from Earth. When we arrive at the Tian continent, I will take you out. I also know an elder sister from the Tian continent, called Lan Shu." "Yes." Ning Rulan was very obedient to her big brother's words. Although she wanted to go out and see what the situation was, her big brother told her not to go out, so she immediately dispelled the idea. Ning Cheng arranged a spiritual gathering array at the place where Tsang Wei was initially trapped and took out tens of millions of spirit stones. The heaven continent's heaven and earth laws were stronger than the earth's, and the spiritual chi here was denser than the earth's. Coupled with the fact that the heaven opening talisman had been left in this place for an unknown period of time, coupled with the spiritual gathering array that Ning Cheng had arranged in this place, the restorative effect was even more formidable. More than half a month later, Ning Cheng had once again recovered to the 4th level of soul sculpting realm, while at the same time, his cultivation had also advanced a step further. Since going to Earth to pick up his sister Rulan, Ning Cheng had not made any progress. Now that his cultivation had room for improvement, Ning Cheng did not stop, and continued to absorb the spirit stones for cultivation. After another month, Ning Cheng finally broke through to the 5th level of the soul sculpting realm. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell into the miniature world. Rulan's progress was even greater, and she was already at the qi-gathering 5th level. Although Ning Rulan's cultivation resources were 100 times better than Ning Cheng's, but for her to be able to cultivate to the qi-gathering 5th level in such a short time, it was clear that Ning Rulan's qualifications were also quite good. A few days later, Ning Cheng brought Ning Rulan out of the miniature world and arrived at the Lu continent. "Big brother, is this the Yixing mainland?" Ning Rulan looked at the many lights flying in the sky, and felt shocked in her heart. Originally, her big brother was able to use an airship to fly, which had already shocked her greatly. Now that so many people could fly, it was simply like the immortal world. This is just the Lu continent of the Yixing mainland. There are 10 continents in the Yixing mainland, and the Lu continent is just one of them. Do you see the city in front of us? That is the Dragon and Phoenix City of the Lu continent. Let's go to the Dragon and Phoenix City now. I want to see if elder sister Lan Shu has returned or not. If elder sister Lan Shu is not here, then I will take you to the Ping continent. When I first came here, I was in the Ping continent. Ning Cheng carefully explained. He did not change his appearance, and with his cultivation at the 5th level of the soul sculpting realm, even if he could not beat the people from the Gui clan, he would not feel any fear. If the Gui clan wanted to seal him like before, then it would simply be a dream. As for going to the Ping continent, Ning Cheng wanted to help the Ning clan take revenge. In any case, this predecessor was also his previous life. Chapter 391. The last time I came here, I was almost killed. Ning Cheng pointed to the spiritual treasure house in front of them and spoke to Ning Rulan. Ning Rulan looked at the various kinds of people around her, and felt somewhat nervous in her heart. Now that she heard her big brother say that he was almost killed in the spiritual treasure house, it made her even more worried. You don't have to worry, even if my current strength is not as good as others, I will not be afraid of others. Ning Cheng's words suddenly came to a halt. What's wrong? Big brother. Ning Rulan could feel the change in her big brother's aura. Rulan, I saw the guy who wanted to kill me back then. Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice. A tall man with a pale complexion also noticed Ning Cheng and swept his gaze towards him. Soon, his gaze fell on Ning Cheng. Ning Rulan spoke up in horror, then let's hurry up. I can't get away. He's already seen me. Don't worry, I can see that this fellow is only at the 1st level of Sea Opening Realm, I believe that I can kill him. Ning Cheng spoke out calmly. He had promised elder sister Shu that when he had the strength in the future, he would definitely kill this devil. Just because a 10-year-old girl called him ugly, this devil killed everyone in the homeless sect. He even collected the blood of female cultivators and humiliated the corpses of the female cultivators he killed. When the little girls saw him kill all the people in the sect, he finally killed the little girl who was only 10 years old and threw her off the cliff. Initially, it was because his strength was too weak, but now that he was already at the 5th level of Soul Sculpting Realm, dealing with a cultivator at the 1st level of Sea Opening Realm, Ning Cheng believed that he could definitely do it. Unless his opponent's cultivation technique was as heaven-defying as his, he also had many treasures, and he even had a king's physique. Kid, it really is you. You've improved so quickly. I guess that even the most talented genius in the entire Lu continent would not be able to match up to you in terms of cultivation speed, right? The pale-faced man had already arrived in front of Ning Cheng. After he finished speaking with a sneer, he glanced at Ning Rulan and spoke, "This woman looks good. What do you want?" Ning Cheng calmly asked. He knew that the other party would not dare to start a fight in the Dragon and Phoenix City, but he would also not dare to start a fight in the Dragon and Phoenix City. If the difference in strength between the two of them was too great, then the other party could have easily taken him away. However, now that he was at the 5th level of Soul Sculpting Realm, it was absolutely impossible for the other party to casually take him away. What do I want? Hee, it's very simple. Just follow me out of the city. Otherwise, I will extract your soul and refine it. If you obediently follow me out of the city, I might even accept you as my disciple if I'm happy. You must know that I, Duan Zhang, do not easily accept disciples. For me to accept you as my disciple, it is your good fortune." The man gave a smile, but in his heart he was thinking about the treasures on Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng did not speak any nonsense. Lead the way. Duan Zhang looked at Ning Cheng in doubt, and then spoke in a very appreciative manner. "A wise man submits to circumstances. You are very tactful. I promise that I will not kill you." "Is it Ning Cheng?" Jia Lingwei, who had just come out of the spiritual treasure house, looked at the three people walking out of the Dragon and Phoenix City in shock. She had already recognized one of them as Ning Cheng. After coming out of the Law's Way, she had heard all kinds of rumors. Later, she also heard that Ning Cheng had killed Gue Yuhai, but she did not expect that she would actually see Ning Cheng today. "No, that's not right," the person who brought Ning Cheng out seemed to have bad intentions towards Ning Cheng. Jia Lingwei's thoughts were meticulous, and she quickly noticed that something was wrong. No matter what kind of rumors it was, she had always been grateful towards Ning Cheng. Now that she saw Ning Cheng appear, moreover it seemed that he was being forced to leave the Dragon and Phoenix village, the first thing she thought of was to quickly find someone to save Ning Cheng. The only person she could look for was her master, Na Xinlan. Her master had just advanced to the first level of Sea Opening Realm, so he should not be afraid of this person. Thinking of this, Jia Lingwei immediately sent a message to her master and carefully followed him. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was much more powerful compared to his cultivation, as such when Jia Lingwei followed him out of the Dragon and Phoenix City, he was able to see her. With Ning Cheng's current knowledge and experience, he immediately understood Jia Lingwei's thoughts. Although he was very grateful for Jia Lingwei's gratitude, he didn't think that Jia Lingwei could help much. Moreover, he was not afraid of Duan Zhang at all. After not seeing each other for many years, Jia Lingwei's cultivation had already advanced from the profound congealing realm to the great circle of the profound core realm. With this cultivation, it was still far from being able to help him. Duan Zhang's cultivation was at the first level of Sea Opening Realm, so when Jia Lingwei came out, he also noticed it. He sneered in his heart, so what if he is a disciple of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy? If she did not take the initiative to provoke him, then he would not care about it, but since she took the initiative to provoke him, then she should not blame him for having another furnace. He did not believe that anyone would know that he had taken away a disciple of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy outside the Dragon and Phoenix City. After half an hour, Duan Zhang finally stopped. He turned around and stared at Ning Cheng with a cold gaze and spoke, "Bring up your ring, and then seal your meridians, don't make me waste my effort." In this place, Duan Zhang did not even bother to speak in a hypocritical tone. Ning Cheng simply did not wait for Duan Zhang to finish his words, as 36 small axes rolled up layers upon layers of axe waves as they shot out. At this moment, not only the 36 small axes, but even the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City also shot out. Duan Zhang's cultivation was higher than his, so even if he did not fear him, he still decided to go all out. Seeing her big brother take action, Ning Rulan simply did not need her big brother's instructions, and had already started to retreat. She was very clear that her cultivation was still too low, as such she had to move far away from her big brother so that he would not have to take care of her. Ha! At the same time as the 36 small axes shot out, Duan Zhang immediately exclaimed in surprise, before he immediately cried out in shock, "All of them are best quality true artifacts." At this time, his eyes turned red. 36 best quality true artifacts, even in his dreams he would not be able to obtain them, but now they had unexpectedly appeared in front of him. Duan Zhang had already killed countless people, so he quickly suppressed this kind of surprise. He knew that he had to kill this person in front of him as soon as possible. Only in this way, would these things truly belong to him. In the Luk continent, a sea-opening realm cultivator like him did not count for anything. The Luk continent even had many crucible transformation cultivators, not to mention a sea-opening realm. Under the surge of emotions, Duan Zhang raised his hand and brought out his own magical weapon, a pair of white bone scissors. When the scissors opened, it brought out a dense cold qi, causing the surrounding air to seemingly stagnate under this cold qi. These two scissors were just like two incomparably huge doors, as they completely surrounded Ning Cheng's 36 small axes, as if they wanted to cut off Ning Cheng's 36 small axes. Ning Cheng was very disdainful, he really did not know where this Duan Zhang's confidence came from. Not to say that he was just a trivial first-level sea opening realm, even if it was an intermediate-stage crucible transformation cultivator, they would not dare to say that they would be able to lock away all 36 small axes with a single scissor. Bang! Ka-ka! The white bone scissors and Ning Cheng's 36 small axes clashed together, causing a violent explosion of true essence to erupt. The area where Ning Cheng and Duan Zhang were fighting, was completely thrown into chaos by the explosion of true essence. Ning Rulan, who was standing at a distance, was simply unable to see clearly, not to mention using her spiritual consciousness to sweep out. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness felt a sharp pain, his 36 small axes seemed to have lost contact with his mind at this moment. In just a breath of time, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. No wonder Duan Zhang dared to have this kind of idea, wanting to use a pair of bone scissors to collect his 36 small axes. It turned out that this pair of scissors also had this kind of effect, it could cut off the connection between his spiritual consciousness and his magical weapon. This was definitely a powerful magical weapon, somewhat similar to the polar gold binding rope that he had snatched from Guo Yuhai. However, this pair of scissors was obviously more powerful than the polar gold binding rope. Even with Ning Cheng's powerful spiritual consciousness, he could feel that his axes were about to lose contact with him. Ning Cheng did not forcibly collect his axes. In this case, forcibly collecting them would be equivalent to being led away by Duan Zhang. Apart from wasting his spiritual consciousness and energy, there would not be any other benefits. Ning Cheng simply ignored the 36 axes, as the everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow smashed down. The everlasting Blue Thunder City had always been a defensive magical weapon. This was the first time that Ning Cheng had used the everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow to attack. In his sea of consciousness, the everlasting Blue Thunder City could automatically shoot out lightning arcs. However, Ning Cheng did not have any way to make the Blue Thunder City's shadow shoot out lightning arcs, as such, he could only use this kind of forceful smash. A formidable imposing aura and pressure descended. Duan Zhang, on seeing the Blue Thunder City's shadow fall down, was immediately shocked in his heart. What kind of magical weapon was this? He no longer cared about collecting Ning Cheng's 36 small axes, as he once again used the 10,000 bone scissors to cut. He believed that no matter what magic treasure it was, it would be useless against his 10,000 bone scissors. Boom! The shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City slammed into Duan Zhang's 10,000 bone scissors, causing it to explode in an instant, while the Blue Thunder City unexpectedly disappeared without a trace. Even if the Blue Thunder City's shadow was destroyed by the 10,000 bone scissors, the powerful backlash still came from it, causing Duan Zhang to be sent flying upside down, causing his true essence to tumble. However, he was very satisfied. After all, his scissors had turned his opponent's powerful attack into nothingness. But not waiting for him to stand firm, an incomparably huge shadow of the Blue Thunder City once again smashed down. Oh no! There's no point in destroying this city's shadow, it can still be regenerated. After Duan Zhang understood this point, he no longer wanted to fight against Ning Cheng's everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow. He wanted to avoid this Thunder City's shadow. At this moment, the surrounding space suddenly became heavy. Although Duan Zhang's speed was still fast, it simply couldn't be compared to before the shadow of the Blue Thunder City descended. The opposite party was definitely not at the intermediate stages of the soul-sculpting realm. Duan Zhang immediately understood this truth. This kind of powerful spiritual consciousness, even he was not a match for it. The greed he felt from before instantly cooled down. No matter how good the things were, one would still need to be alive to obtain them. Stop. I didn't know that you also had the cultivation of Sea Opening Realm. I apologize for offending you. Now I will immediately leave, let's mind our own business. Duanzhang shouted, as he once again brought out his 10,000 bone scissors, while simultaneously bringing out 7 red beads. Ning Cheng acted as if he had not heard Duanzhang's words, as the 36 small axes rolled up a gust of astral wind, completely sealing up the space under the everlasting Blue Thunder City suppression. Although Duanzhang wanted to quickly leave the range of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, he was still a step too late. The 7 red beads exploded on top of the 7 small axes whirlpools, boom 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 boom. 7 consecutive violent explosions rang out. The aftermath of the explosions once again smashed into Ning Cheng's body, but Ning Cheng acted as if he did not feel it at all. However, Duanzhang's 10,000 ancient scissors once again blocked the rank 5 Blue Thunder City's shadow, and did not let the Blue Thunder City's shadow smash into his body. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng only had 36 axes, not 7. The whirlpools created by the rest of the small axes completely fused together at this time. Just like a huge funnel, it immediately exploded onto Duanzhang's body. Bang! Duanzhang's entire lower body was completely blown apart by the powerful whirlpools, as he was sent flying. Although Duanzhang's cultivation was higher than Ning Cheng's, Ning Cheng did not feel any pressure in his fight with Duanzhang. He did not even need to bring out his long spear. Chapter 392. Duanzhang's life essence did not have the time to escape, when Ning Cheng threw out a ball of flames and surrounded it. It was not until this moment that Duanzhang realized that Ning Cheng had followed him out of the city not because he was afraid of him, but rather because he wanted to kill him. Unfortunately, he realized it a bit too late. If he had realized it earlier, then maybe he would have had the opportunity to escape. While the ball of flames surrounded Duanzhang's life essence, Ning Cheng punched out towards Duanzhang, who only had half of his body left. Killing you today can be considered as helping elder sister Shu take revenge for the homeless academy. Before Duanzhang died, he finally understood why Ning Cheng was so determined to kill him. It turned out to be to take revenge for the homeless academy. As for who that elder sister Shu was, he simply did not know. When a ring fell into Ning Cheng's hand, Duanzhang's corporeal body and soul completely turned into nothingness. You actually killed Duanzhang. A surprised voice arrived, as Ning Cheng saw a middle-aged female cultivator descend. Master. Jia Lingwei quickly came out from a distance. She had seen Ning Cheng kill this tall cultivator with her own eyes, but she did not know how powerful Duanzhang was. Ning Cheng understood that Jia Lingwei had called her master over to help. However, her master came a bit too late. By the time her master arrived, he had already killed Duanzhang. Ning Ruolin quickly ran to stand behind Ning Cheng and stared at Jia Lingwei and her master with vigilance. She had heard from her big brother that people would often kill people for no reason in order to snatch things. Since her big brother had killed that pale-faced man, she did not know if this person would covet him or not. Senior apprentice Sister Lingwei, long time no see. Ning Cheng smiled and cupped his fists. He did not know Jia Lingwei's master. Moreover, the opposite party only had the cultivation of first level of Sea Opening Realm, so he did not care about it. Jia Lingwei quickly spoke up, No, senior apprentice brother Ning, your cultivation is higher than mine, and you even saved my life. Just call me junior apprentice Sister Lingwei. The middle-aged female cultivator smiled and spoke, Lingwei, is he Ning Cheng? Jia Lingwei called him senior apprentice brother Ning, and said that he had saved her life. Jia Lingwei's master immediately realized that it should be Ning Cheng. This junior is indeed Ning Cheng, many thanks for senior's help. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his fists and thanked. The middle-aged female cultivator waved her hand, I didn't help you much. Since you could kill Duanzhang, it means that your strength is already above mine. My name is Na Xinlan, and I am Lingwei's master. I don't dare to call you senior. Jia Lingwei stared at Ning Cheng in shock, and only after a good while did she ask in amazement, Master, is senior apprentice brother Ning's strength higher than yours? After saying this, Jia Lingwei couldn't believe it at all. When she first saw Ning Cheng seemed to only have the cultivation of essence-building realm. How long has it been? Even Master couldn't compare to him. Although the geniuses in the Lu continent were as numerous as the hairs on an ox, but he had never seen a cultivator who could progress as fast as Ning Cheng. Even Luo Banyun and Bei Xingjin from the Dragon and Phoenix Academy could not cultivate as fast as Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, Junior apprentice Sister Lingwei, this senior is just being modest. I only have the cultivation of soul sculpting realm, and am still far inferior to your respected master. Thank you so much for coming out to help me today. His cultivation was higher than Jia Lingwei's, so he didn't insist when Jia Lingwei insisted on calling him senior brother. Jia Lingwei sighed, only then did she remember the reason why she came here, and gave a self-deprecating smile. I did not help much. If I had seen you face to face, I might not have believed that you were senior apprentice brother Ning. Your changes are just too big. I did not think that in just 10 years, senior apprentice brother Ning would surpass me by so much. Although Ning Cheng's appearance had changed a bit, Jia Lingwei did not find it strange. However, she did not think that Ning Cheng had changed his appearance in order to avoid his enemies. Many cultivators did not rely on their appearance, but rather on their aura and spiritual consciousness fluctuations. Senior apprentice brother Ning, do you still remember junior apprentice sister Yan Ji? Jia Lingwei subconsciously looked at Ning Rulan standing next to Ning Cheng. Ever since Yan Ji regained her sanity, she immediately stood up to speak for Ning Cheng. She even said that the arrest warrant for Ning Cheng was just nonsense. Jia Lingwei even thought that Ning Cheng and Yan Ji had some sort of relationship. How could a beautiful girl appear beside Ning Cheng now? Moreover, her cultivation was so poor, only at Qi gathering 5th level. Ning Cheng saw Jia Lingwei looking at Ning Rulan, and immediately spoke up, of course I remember, is Yan Ji still well? That's right, this is my younger sister Ning Rulan. Rulan, these two are senior Na Xinlan and senior apprentice sister Jia Lingwei from the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Jia Lingwei suddenly understood, so it turned out to be Ning Cheng's younger sister. Ning Cheng, do you still want to go to the Dragon and Phoenix Academy? Na Xinlan took the initiative to speak up. She had seen Ning Cheng's cultivation progress so rapidly, and knew that Ning Cheng was definitely not ordinary. If he did not have a secret, then his qualifications were really heaven-defying, or he had obtained some kind of inheritance. Because Ning Cheng and her disciple Jia Lingwei were familiar with each other, she wanted her disciple to have a good relationship with Ning Cheng, at least not offend a person like Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng originally wanted to ask about elder sister Shu, but now that Na Xinlan asked about it, he quickly spoke up. When I returned to the Dragon and Phoenix City, I found that Lan Shu and I were wanted. I want to know if elder sister Lan Shu returned to the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. If not, then I will not go. Na Xinlan gave a slight nod. After the arrest warrant appeared, Lan Shu has not appeared. No one has touched her residence. As such my Dragon and Phoenix Academy is not afraid of the Gui Yuan City and the Wu Nian Academy. If you do not have any special matter, then you can come to my immortal cave, maybe I have some information that you need. Ning Cheng immediately remembered the Gui clan and the Wu Nian Academy who had opposed him, and spoke up in his heart, then I will have to disturb senior. Na Xinlan, as a cultivator at the first level of Sea Opening Realm, still had a certain status in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Ning Cheng could see from her residence that not only was the spiritual qi incomparably rich, but there was also a separate spiritual medicine mountain. The entire environment was 10 times more beautiful than the place where elder sister Lan Shu lived. Although Ning Rulan was Ning Cheng's younger sister, but Ning Rulan's age was not that young, and was only at the qi gathering 5th level, as such Na Xinlan did not care about it. Of course, she did not know that Ning Ruolin had only cultivated for 2 or 3 months. After Jia Lingwei served up the spiritual tea, she also quietly sat down next to her master. Na Xinlan did not beat around the bush, and directly asked, Ning Cheng, that your Nalan Rushue said that you and her were husband and wife, is this matter true or false? After Na Xinlan asked, she also observed Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng felt that it was taboo to ask such a question, then she would immediately change the topic. Ning Cheng did not care about Na Xinlan directly asking this question, as he gave a faint smile and spoke, that senior, although Nalan Rushua thinks that her background is many times more noble than mine, but in my heart, I do not have any impression of her. My Ning Cheng's cultivation might not be as good as the noble disciples of the major academies, but I have my own persistence when it comes to relationships. Let me put it bluntly, that senior does not have to care about it. Even if that Nalan Rushua were to strip naked and lie in front of me, I would not even bother to get on top of her, not to mention forcing myself on her. Ning Cheng's words were very rude, and also very impolite, to the point that he almost directly scolded Nalan Rushua. Even if she knew that he might die in the law's way, this woman still did not forget to use him, and even said that he had forced himself on her. As for the fact that he had saved her life, Nalan Rushua simply did not care about it. If Ning Cheng had a good impression of her, then it would be a strange thing. Big brother. Ning Ruolin whispered a reminder to Ning Cheng from the side. She did not think that her big brother's words were unpleasant to hear, but she was afraid that these words would spread out, which would be detrimental to her big brother. Jia Lingwei's face turned slightly red. She was a relatively introverted person, so when Ning Cheng spoke without any politeness, she could not stand it. In her heart, she also believed that Ning Cheng had not forced himself on Nalan Rushua. Na Xinlan smiled. She did not feel that Ning Cheng's words were harsh to the ears. Instead she spoke up with a smile, Lingwei has always told me that you would not do such a thing. I think that Nalan Rushua should thank you. If not for you killing Gui Yuhai, then maybe she would have already married into the Gui clan. That Gui Yuhai is the most important disciple of the Gui clan. I'm afraid that Gui Zhong would not let it go so easily. Gui Zhong already has the cultivation of crucible transformation 3rd level, so you have to be careful. After saying that, Na Xinlan still looked at Ning Cheng. As long as Ning Cheng had some fear towards the Gui clan, she was confident that she could win over Ning Cheng. What made Na Xinlan feel regretful was that Ning Cheng just gave a smile. Even if I and Gui Yuhai did not have any enmity, I would still have killed him. The Gui clan is just as so. His wife, Shi Qianghua, was also a crucible transformation cultivator, and the two of them had even killed a crucible transformation 7th level cultivator, so why would they fear a mere Gui clan? What's more, he had a way to let the Dragon and Phoenix Academy deal with the Gui clan, unless he misjudged Na Xinlan. Hearing Ning Cheng say that even if he had no enmity with Gui Yuhai, he would still kill Gui Yuhai. Na Xinlan even ignored Ning Cheng's words of contempt towards the Gui clan, and quickly asked, why is that? Ning Cheng did not speak, and directly waved out a few agate red jade boxes and spoke, Senior Na, this is what I found inside Gui Yuhai's ring after I killed him. Senior Na is very knowledgeable, so I think you can see it more clearly than me. Na Xinlan did not know what Ning Cheng meant by taking out these jade boxes. She doubtfully opened one of the jade boxes and immediately saw a box filled with undergarments. Jia Lingwei's face turned slightly red, as she secretly thought that Ning Cheng really did not know what was good for him, to actually take out a woman's undergarments and put them in front of her master. Moreover, some of these undergarments even made her blush. It was simply too thin. When Na Xinlan first saw the undergarments, she also felt a bit angry in her heart. However, her face immediately changed, as she immediately grabbed one of the undergarments and stared at it for a long time. Even Jia Lingwei knew that something was wrong. Her master had always been very traditional, as such it was absolutely impossible for her to study the undergarments in front of a male cultivator like senior apprentice brother Ning. It turned out to be the soul-locking wish extraction technique, so insidious. Na Xinlan's complexion had already changed, even her hands were trembling with anger. In just a moment, she had already opened the rest of the boxes. Suddenly she grabbed a pink undergarment from one of the boxes, and spoke with red and swollen eyes. I always wondered where Man had gone. I never thought that she would end up being harmed by the Gui clan, master, senior apprentice sister Man. Jia Lingwei also understood what was going on, as she stood up in shock. Na Xinlan's face immediately turned gloomy, as she put away the boxes and spoke to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, thank you. I'm going to see the dean immediately. Ling Wei, you accompany Ning Cheng, I have something important to do. I know, master. When Jia Lingwei finished, Na Xinlan had already disappeared. Chapter 393. Junior Apprentice Sister Lingwei, what is the soul-locking wish extraction? Ning Cheng waited for Na Xinlan to leave, before quickly asking. He had only started out halfway, and did not have a master to guide him, as such there were many things that he did not understand. Although his cultivation was higher than Jia Lingwei, but the things that he knew might not necessarily be as much as Jia Lingwei. Jia Lingwei shook her head with red eyes. I don't know, but master's meaning is that senior apprentice sister Man might have been killed by Gui Yuhai. How is junior apprentice sister Yan Ji recently? Seeing Jia Lingwei talking about senior apprentice sister Man, Ning Cheng quickly interjected, and once again asked about Yan Ji. He still had some concern for Yan Ji, the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers. In Ning Cheng's heart, Yan Ji was many times higher than Nalan Rushue. He had always thought that Nalan Rushue was not worthy of being on the same level as Yan Ji. Jia Lingwei sobered up from the contemplation of senior apprentice sister Man, and quickly spoke up. It seems that senior apprentice brother Ning does not know a lot of things. The transmission array from the Lu continent to the Tian continent has already been arranged. From the Ping continent to the Lu continent and the other 9 continents' geniuses, all of them will enter the Tian continent through the transmission array. Yan Ji, Nalan Rushue, Gui Yu Tang, Gui Yu Hua, Kui Tian, Bei Xingjin, Cheng Yixiao, Luo Ban Yun and dozens of others have all gone to the Tian continent. So that's how it is, junior apprentice sister Lingwei, with your qualifications, you should also be able to go to the Tian continent, right? Ning Cheng suddenly understood. My master said that my strength is not enough, and that I will only go after I reach the soul essence realm. Jia Lingwei replied. Ning Cheng nodded. Jia Lingwei was already at the great circle of the profound core realm. Advancing to the soul essence realm was only a matter of time. Senior apprentice brother Ning, if it is inconvenient for your sister, you can let her join my Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Jia Lingwei knew the meaning of her master. She wanted her to befriend Ning Cheng. If it was an ordinary person, having the opportunity to join a 9-star academy, they would definitely be so happy that they would not be able to sleep. However, Ning Cheng did not care about it. He would not want to stay in the Lu continent. He himself would not stay in the Lu continent, so how could he leave his little sister here? Many thanks junior apprentice sister Lingwei, but I still have to take Rulan to do something. Ning Cheng thanked her, but immediately refused. Junior Yan Ji, Tian, Yan Wei did not say much. He, sister, Yan, brother, Yan, sister Yan, Tian Yan, Chen Yan, Cheng said. The Blue Cloud Academy regarded her as the #1 genius in their cultivation, and attached great importance to their junior apprentice sister Yan Ji. Junior apprentice sister Yan Ji requested the Blue Cloud Academy to withdraw the arrest warrant for you and Master Shu. Moreover, she also firmly stands on your side. Afterwards, in just a few years, junior apprentice sister Yan Ji advanced to the soul essence realm. I'm afraid that junior apprentice sister Yan Ji's cultivation has already reached the soul sculpting realm. As Jia Lingwei finished speaking, she was very concerned about Ning Cheng's expression. She wanted to know if it was because of Ning Cheng that Yan Ji's qualifications rose so quickly. She knew that it was only after Yan Ji came out from the law's way that her qualifications and comprehension ability had reached a whole new level. In the law's way, Yan Ji and Ning Cheng had the most contact, perhaps it was because of Ning Cheng's help. Ning Cheng was very grateful to Yan Ji in his heart. He had also guessed that the reason why Yan Ji could progress so quickly, should be related to the spiritual enhancement true nectar. However, he would not tell Jiao Lingwei these things. From Jiao Lingwei, Ning Cheng learned a lot of things. He came to know that the Gui clan had gained another crucible transformation cultivator a few years ago. Not only that, but the Gui clan and the Nine Continents army were also very close. According to Jiao Lingwei's words, the Gui clan had gotten close to the Nine Continents army after Ning Cheng disappeared from the Yixing Ocean. Hearing this, Ning Cheng knew in his heart that even if Na Xinlan was not satisfied with Gui Yuhai's actions, the Dragon and Phoenix Academy would at most be able to disgust the Gui clan, and would not be able to destroy the Gui clan. To destroy the Gui clan, it looks like he would have to wait for the future. If Na Xinlan impulsively went to look for the dean on the spot, then maybe it was because of that man, that she had mentioned. Just as Ning Cheng was thinking about these things, Na Xinlan once again returned. Master. Jiao Lingwei on seeing her master return immediately stood up and called out in anticipation. Na Xinlan's face was a bit desolate, she waved her hand towards Jiao Lingwei, and then spoke to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, the Gui clan is too powerful, I'm afraid that these few boxes of undergarments would not be enough to unite with the other forces to bring down the Gui clan. Thank you for helping my disciple take revenge, because the Wu Nian Academy and the Gui clan have a close relationship, my Dragon and Phoenix Academy's hearts are not united. Ning Cheng on hearing this already understood what was going on, he stood up and cupped his fists towards Na Xinlan and spoke, many thanks for Senior Na's help, I will deal with this matter myself in the future. Na Xinlan took out 2 boxes and placed them in front of Ning Cheng and spoke, out of the 4 boxes, I took out 2 of them from the dean, you can keep these 2 for yourself, in the future you can use them as evidence. Speaking till here, Na Xinlan hesitated for a moment, before continuing, originally I was going to ask you to stay in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy for a while, but now it seems that it is not possible. The Gui clan will soon come to know that you have come to the Dragon and Phoenix Academy, although Gui Zhong is not in the Gui Yuan city. I suggest that you leave this place as soon as possible, and come back in the future when you have the strength to do so. Seeing the desolate look in Na Xinlan's eyes, how could Ning Cheng not know what was going on? The Dragon and Phoenix Academy definitely had a few people who were leaning towards the Gui clan. Na Xinlan had even plotted against her own disciple by the Gui clan, but she could only disgust the Gui clan a bit. From this, it could be seen that if he wanted to destroy the Gui clan, he would have to rely on himself. Na Xinlan tried to persuade him to leave this place as soon as possible, because she knew that the matter of her coming to the Dragon and Phoenix Academy would soon be leaked out. Ning Cheng secretly sighed, taking revenge in the end still had to rely on his own fists. The last time he had schemed in the Tian continent for such a long time, the severing emotions Dao sect was still there. From this it could be seen that strength was the most fundamental thing. I would like to ask Senior, what is the soul-locking wish extraction? Ning Cheng asked as he put away the 2 boxes. Na Xinlan did not hide anything from Ning Cheng, I came to know about it when I went to the mystic realm with the people from the Gui clan, everyone has a kind of power of hope. This kind of power of hope can grow because of certain things, and even continue to form on one's own body. The collection of the power of hope is very difficult, I heard that incense can be used to collect the power of hope, of course, I am not clear about this. At that time, we also saw another method of collecting the power of hope on an altar. Other than me, there were also the Gui clan's Gui Feng and the Wu Nian Academy's Di Xianqing. That is to lock the soul of a virgin woman, and then extract the power of hope through an array formation. This kind of power of hope would finally attach itself to the woman's undergarments, and then be used again. Only virgins have the most powerful power of hope, as such this method of collecting the power of hope does not require the use of incense. Because this method is incomparably ruthless, moreover the extracted virgin's soul would scatter away, and even the essence blood would not remain. The three of us agreed that this method was too vicious, moreover as for what the power of hope was used for, no one knew. Therefore, we unanimously destroyed this method of recording, and also made an agreement to never reveal this kind of thing. I did not expect that it would be used by the Gue clan's Gue Yuhai. It can be seen that Gue Feng did not abide by his promise. Ning Cheng on hearing till here came to understand that the Gue clan must have obtained the true Brahma sword. Gue Yuhai knew that this thing needed the power of hope to drive. However, he did not have the power of hope, and as a result, Gue Feng passed on this vicious method to him. Many thanks Senior Na, this junior will now take his leave. Ning Cheng once again thanked Na Xinlan, before pulling Ning Rulan and quickly leaving. Master, if senior apprentice brother Ning stays in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy, then who would dare to make a move against him? Jia Lingwei asked in a puzzled manner. Na Xinlan shook her head, and did not directly answer Jia Lingwei's words, and just spoke, Lingwei, prepare yourself, after you advance to the Soul Essence realm, you will immediately head to the Tian continent. Big brother, this flight-type magical weapon seems to be a lot faster than the one in front. Ning Rulan could feel that this airship was much faster, and immediately spoke up. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, of course, this is a low-grade true artifact airship. Its speed is certainly not something that a spiritual artifact airship can compare to. Ning Cheng had snatched this low-grade true artifact airship from the hands of Qi Lu. Qi Lu was a Crucible Transformation 7th level cultivator, as such how could a Crucible Transformation cultivator's flight-type magical weapon be bad? Then where are we going now? Ning Rulan knew that a true artifact was of a higher grade than a spiritual artifact, but she had just arrived in the Yi Xing mainland, as such she did not have an intuitive concept. Let's first go to the Angry Axe Valley to have a look. If we can't find what I want, then we will return to the Ping continent. Ning Cheng replied. He wanted to go to the Angry Axe Valley because he wanted to know if he could enter the Angry Axe Valley after the last incident. If he could go in, then Meng Jingxiu had given him a map, so he wanted to see if the immortal mansion of Lan Wei existed. If the immortal mansion existed, then he would not have to worry about not having enough cultivation resources. It did not matter if the immortal mansion did not exist, as it would not waste much time. If he wanted to return to the Ping continent, then he would have to pass through the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley to the Jia continent. And, wherever Big Brother goes, I will follow. Ning Rulan gave an nth sound, whether it was Earth or the Yi Xing mainland, she only had her big brother as her family. After Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment, he still spoke up, Rulan, I want to tell you something, you don't have to be nervous, and don't panic. Big brother, just say it, I won't be nervous. Ning Rulan snorted, her big brother was already together with her, what else was there for her to be nervous about? Actually, I came to the Yi Xing mainland because of a bead. When Ning Cheng spoke about his reincarnation into his past life, Ning Rulan was so shocked that she could not even speak a single word. Was there anything else that could shock her more than this? If she had not followed Ning Cheng to the Yi Xing mainland, then she really would not have believed her big brother's words. Although she was sure that Ning Cheng was her big brother, but after all, this reincarnation thing was just too outrageous. Big brother, is what you said true? It's true. Sigh. After a good while, Ning Rulan took a deep breath, as she held Ning Cheng's arm and sobbed, Tian Mu Wan, that woman is really not a good thing, she almost caused my big brother to lose his life. Ning Rulan also had the cultivation of Qi gathering 5th level, if she had not cultivated before, then she would not have believed Ning Cheng's words. But now, she was also clear that this kind of thing was very normal. Feeling Rulan's attachment to him, Ning Cheng felt very fortunate in his heart. Fortunately, he had gone to pick up his little sister, otherwise his little sister would have definitely been lonely on Earth. After a while, Ning Rulan suddenly thought of something, as she eagerly asked, Big brother, if sister-in-law Luofei is in the Ping continent, how will you introduce our relationship? Ning Cheng was just about to say that Luofei should not be in the Ping continent, but the word stuck in his mouth, as he remembered Shi Qionghua. Shi Qionghua's matter, he had not told his little sister about it, so how should he bring it up? Could he tell Rulin that she had a sister-in-law called Shi Qionghua? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.